Chapter 45:20. Zhang Cengxing also saw the town and felt the strange light in the other party's eyes. His pupils shrank. Could this be the legendary Tianji eyes? He didn't expect to encounter it. He was too shocked. If he were able to learn the secrets of the heavenly fortune eye technique here, he would be able to further evolve his soul-extinguishing eye technique. He was too shocked. He began to frantically search the town for the secret to the evolution of his eyes. On the other side, Lin Xian was also walking in the town. He felt that everything around him was mysterious. He realized that there were really people from the Divine Eye tribe here. Their eyes were very strange. Of course, not everyone had a golden light. Moreover, even if they had activated their Divine Eye, the golden runes in their eyes varied in strength. "Young man, you can't go any further. You can't enter that place," an old man kindly reminded him. Lin Xian turned his head and saw that the old man had white hair and a sage-like demeanor. However, his eyes were ordinary, just like a normal person's. There was no shocking light that surprised him. This old man didn't activate his Divine Eye? "Senior, what's up ahead?" "It's called the Divine Eye Pavilion. It used to be the place where the Divine Eye tribe cultivated. However, that place has been sealed and no one can enter." The old man shook his head and left. The Divine Eye Pavilion? Lin Xian was shocked. A place to cultivate. He decided to take a look. He found that there was a seal there that prevented him from entering. However, the aura on it surprised him. He took out the bronze key. The second bronze key he obtained was used to open the Divine Eye Pavilion. At the same time, Ming Chen, Tyrant Sky, Elder Lu Qin, and Zhang Cengxing were also investigating whether there was a place to cultivate. They also received news about the Divine Eye Pavilion. Was it a sealed cultivation ground? They all rushed over. Apart from Misty Peak, there were also a few experts from the other Grotto Heavens and ancient race experts who weren't controlled. They rushed over and saw a red-robed man standing there with his back to them. "It's that kid!" Ming Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. Tyranny and Lu Qin's expressions also changed. "It's him. He's here too. He wasn't being controlled. Great, now is the best time to kill him." These people increased their speed. Lin Xian used the bronze key when he heard the sound of something tearing through the air behind him. With a click, he opened the seal and walked in. He also took the bronze key with him. He went in. He too had a bronze key. Everyone exclaimed. Zhang Cengxing's eyes shone with a cold light. Stop! He had a bronze key, so he naturally knew that it was impossible to open this place without it. Therefore, he had to take advantage of the time when the seal was closed to enter or leave the key in the other party's hand. In his eyes, the eye of extermination emitted the light of extermination, destroying everything. However, he was still a step too late. The seal in front of him was restored, and Lin Xian's figure disappeared. Damn it! When the spirit extermination light collided with the seal, it caused a shocking tremor. The light was reflected back, scaring the surrounding people into dodging. Damn it! After Zhang Cengxing arrived, he slammed his palm onto the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion. However, it was to no avail. Was there no other way? Tyranny, Dark Star, and the others frowned. The other powerhouses from the Grotto Heavens and the ancient race walked over, their faces similarly cold. They looked forward and said, "Young Master Zhang Tsung, let's join hands." These people joined hands and unleashed terrifying attacks. Whether it was the law of divine abilities or soul attacks, they tried everything, but they still couldn't open it. Damn it, there must be a secret of the Heaven's Secrets race inside. There might even be an inheritance of the Heaven's Secrets race. These people's eyes turned red. Good brat, you dare to snatch the treasure in front of me. I want to see if you can take the treasure away when you come out. Zhang Cengxing's eyes were filled with killing intent. He stood there silently, waiting for Lin Xian to come out so that he could capture him and collect his soul. The others were also waiting. How could they miss such a good opportunity? Even if they had to wait 100 years, they would still wait. As for the others who came in, let alone finding the Heaven's Secrets Pavilion, they even lost their own identities. They had become disciples of the Heaven's Secrets race and would live here forever. On the other side, after Lin Xian entered, he discovered that the interior of the Heaven's Secrets pavilion was incomparably bright, and there were many passages around it. Moreover, there were figures on every floor. These people were very blurry, and they were all cultivating in secret rooms. There were actually people here? Was this an illusion? He didn't know. He continued to walk towards the Heaven's Secrets pavilion, which had a total of 7 floors. He arrived at the 6th floor and discovered that there was an empty cultivation room on the 6th floor. He walked in. When he entered, he felt that the secret room was sealed. Lin Xian didn't pay any attention to him. Instead, he looked around the secret chamber curiously. He realized that there were many diagrams inside, all of which were ancient stone carvings. There were all sorts of strange Dao runes drawn on them, and there was even a pair of magical eyes that dazzled him. Looking at them would cause his soul to hurt, as if it was about to split open. Lin Xian was overjoyed. This was the cultivation of eye techniques. These diagrams could cultivate the soul and strengthen the eye techniques. Great, he had come to the right place. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He didn't pay attention to anything else. Instead, he sat down cross-legged and began to comprehend and cultivate. There were a total of 12 diagrams in front of him. The Heaven's Secrets 12 diagrams. Lin Xian began to comprehend with all his might. In his golden pupils, all sorts of Dao runes intertwined, forming mysterious and strange runes one after another. Some of these runes were attacks, some were illusions, and some could control the soul of others with just a glance. They could even modify the soul memories of others. It was really mysterious, and it opened a new door for Lin Xian. Lin Xian seemed to have forgotten about time and everything as he comprehended here. After some time, he felt that his eyes were so painful that they were about to bleed. Only then did he look away, stand up, and move his body. He was about to go out and see what was in the other secret rooms. However, he found that he couldn't get out at all. This secret room had formed another seal. It had extremely strong soul power, and Lin Xian couldn't break it. Damn it, could it be that there was a key? He took out the bronze key and found that it couldn't be opened at all. Of these 2 keys, one was to open the Qiankuan ancient city. The other was to open the Heaven's Secrets pavilion. However, there was no secret room at all. Could it be that there were other keys? Lin Xian frowned. Other than him, there was another person who had a bronze key, and that was Zhang Xingxing. However, his bronze key was to open the Qiankuan palace. He had never seen anyone open a secret cultivation room. What was going on? Could it be that after entering, there was no way out? Chapter 45-21. No, it's impossible to be trapped here. Lin Xian looked at it carefully. The soul on the seal was extremely powerful, and he was very familiar with it. He discovered that the seal was formed by the fusion of the 12 mysterious heavenly diagrams. Could it be that he could only leave after he comprehended all 12 mysterious heavenly diagrams? He took a deep breath and sat back down cross-legged. He took out a treasure that could restore one's soul and aid it to recover. In the next moment, he started comprehending the 12 mysterious heavenly diagrams with all his might. In the small town, the autumn wind blew and the leaves fell. Winter arrived. Snow fell and then melted. Another summer arrived. The cycle of spring and autumn had been repeated many times. Ming Chen walked over in front of the mysterious heavenly pavilion and said with gritted teeth, 100 years had passed. Damn it, this time passed by too quickly. Zhang Xingxing was still standing in front of him. He said coldly, If I'm not wrong, everything we see is an illusion. The flow of time here is different from the outside world. It might pass in the blink of an eye. 100 years here might only pass in the outside world in a second. So, we can continue to wait. Hearing that, some people heaved a sigh of relief. If that was the case, they could afford to wait. Otherwise, it would be a huge waste for them to wait for 100 years in vain. However, at this moment, an old man said coldly, The flow of time here is indeed different, But it's also possible that 100 years here is equivalent to 1,000 years outside. We don't know the exact ratio. I don't intend to wait any longer. After saying that, he prepared to leave the small town and return to reality. In the blink of an eye, another 100 years had passed. In the past 100 years, many people had died in the small town. The cycle of life and death had begun. Those whose memories had been changed seemed to have lost their monstrous magic power. Some people died and were buried by others, turning into a pile of bones. Some people were old and seemed to have one foot in the grave. Shuichi looked at this scene with a grave expression. Some of them were from the Thousand Mountain Cave. Before coming here, they had fought side by side with her. However, they had turned into white-haired old men. Some of them had even turned into bones. She had tried to find a few companions and tried to wake them up. However, she found that it was useless. The nine-in body could only guarantee that she would not be controlled, but it could not save anyone else. Shuichi frowned as she wondered how Lin Xian was doing. Naturally, she also saw the Divine Mysteries Pavilion and the people standing there. However, she did not go over. Instead, he hid far away. However, it was fortunate that those people were guarding the place and didn't investigate it. Otherwise, those people would have noticed Shuichi. Inside the Divine Secrets Pavilion. In the secret chamber, Lin Xian opened his eyes. Mysterious runes were flickering in his eyes. Success. He stood up, and the golden radiance in his eyes seemed to be able to pierce through heaven and earth. The 12 mysterious heavenly maps in front of him slowly disappeared, as if they were never there. Lin Xian turned around and faced the powerful soul seal. His eyes glowed with a golden light. The heavenly fortune 12 patterns floated rapidly in his eyes and merged with the seal. With a cracking sound, a crack appeared on the seal. The seal slowly opened, revealing a passageway. He had finally succeeded. Lin Xian was overjoyed as he walked out of the passageway. After he opened the secret chamber's seal, the seals in the other secret chambers also reacted and opened one after another. Lin Xian was startled, and he went to look at the other secret chambers. However, he discovered that they were empty. Moreover, most of the people in those secret chambers had already turned into skeletons. Only a few people managed to escape. These people were also emaciated, as if they were made of bones. After they appeared, their gazes were like lightning as they stared at Lin Xian. Their eyes were filled with vigilance and a terrifying aura. They are so terrifying. They are surely not from the younger generation. Lin Xian felt as if he was facing a great enemy. His eyes glowed with a terrifying golden radiance, and it seemed as if they had turned into 2 divine lamps to warn these people. 3 people came out of the secret chamber. Their hair was disheveled, and they were all staring at Lin Xian. They quickly searched the other secret chambers, and they discovered that those people had already turned into skeletons. Then, they all roared at the sky. Hateful! Ah! I have finally come out! Damn it! They are all dead! How many years have passed? Ah! The 3 people roared at the sky. The Heavenly Secrets Pavilion shook, and a terrifying aura filled the air. Lin Xian was shocked. These 3 people were too terrifying. Late-stage Saint King? Or had they already reached the Great Saint tier? Also, how long had these 3 people been trapped for? Were these skeletons from the same time as these 3 people? So many powerful saints had already turned into skeletons. It must have been thousands of years. These 3 people were still alive. When I came, I was still a young prodigy, but now, I don't even have much lifespan left. How many years has it been? A gray-haired figure looked up at the sky and sighed. Tears flowed out of his eyes. A young prodigy had turned into a living fossil. Lin Xian could not believe it. This was more than 5,000 years, right? The eyes of the other 2 people also burst with a piercing light. They stared at Lin Xian. Who are you, kid? When did you come in? We didn't seem to have seen you last time. Last time, there were more than 30 people here, and they all knew each other. They did not see each other. Lin Xian said, I came in later, and I don't know how long I've been here. It's normal that you don't know me. Has the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion opened again? You can actually walk out of the secret chamber. They were really too shocked. Which side are you from? Their eyes were filled with shock. They were all soul-eye technique experts, but they were still trapped in there and could not come out. They did not expect a young man to do it. There must be a secret on him. Lin Xian was also facing a great enemy. Were these two old guys targeting him as soon as they came out? He snorted coldly, flipped his palm, and took out the Xiantian token. I'm from the Xiantian Pavilion. The Xiantian Pavilion? The three of them were stunned, and the eyes of the two white-haired figures shone. The Xiantian Pavilion really surprised me. They walked towards Lin Xian. The third figure, the one with gray hair, took a step forward and said, "What? You two want to fight here? Kill each other? Who knows how many years have passed? Let's go out first." The two of them looked at each other and nodded. They were not in a hurry. They should go out first. Seeing the two of them walking forward, the gray-haired man looked at Lin Xian and said, "Be careful." Lin Xian nodded. "Thank you for the reminder." Then, he also walked forward. "Kid, how did you get in? Do you have a key?" Lin Xian took it out, and used the bronze key to open the seal. This time, the bronze key disappeared. It seemed that he would not be able to enter here again. However, he did not regret it. He had already cultivated the 12 maps of heavenly secrets, and there was nothing to miss here. However, the situation outside worried him. Chapter 45-22. What happened to Shuiqi and the others? Was this really the Heaven's Legacy tribe? Was all of this a fantasy, or was it real? With such thoughts in mind, the seal in front of him began to rumble as it slowly opened. Outside the Heaven's Legacy Pavilion, Zhang Cengxing and the others stood there, waiting. At that moment, the number of people beside him had already decreased by half. The others had already given up. Only a portion of people were still waiting there. They decided to wait for 100 years. If no one came out after 100 years, they would give up. On this day, he discovered that the seal in front of him had finally changed. That's great. The person inside had come out. The surrounding people were overjoyed. Their 200 years of waiting had not been in vain. That kid was finally coming out. They could take revenge. Ming Chen's eyes were filled with killing intent. Zhang Cengxing snorted coldly. He would capture him and take his soul. No matter what inheritance he obtained inside, it would be his. The moment the seal was broken, Zhang Cengxing moved. The light of destruction shot out. On the other side, Ming Chen roared and slammed his palm into the seal. With a loud boom, an earth-shattering sound rang out. Immediately after, two figures retreated. They were Zhang Cengxing and Ming Chen. Their faces were pale as they spat out mouthfuls of blood. Their bodies were shattered. What happened? Lu Qin and the other elders' expressions changed. Had that kid become so terrifying? He had defeated two top experts by himself? Tyranny's expression was grave. But in the next moment, they were all stunned. They discovered that the first to walk out was not Lin Xian, but two elders. Two white-haired old men. Their bodies were shriveled, but the auras on their bodies were extremely terrifying. Especially their eyes, which were like bright lights that could see through everything. Earlier, Zhang Cengxing and Ming Chen had been injured by them. How dare you plot against us here? Do you not know your place? One of the elders said coldly. His eyes suddenly emitted a terrifying starlight, as if it was going to sweep through everything. Not good, this was an extremely terrifying expert. How could there be someone inside? The surrounding people were all going crazy. Elder Lu Qin hurriedly stepped out. Senior, we have no ill intentions. We didn't know it was you inside. We are all from the Ethereal Peak. For the sake of the Ethereal Peak, please let us off. Humph. People from Ethereal Peak. Do you dare to be arrogant in front of me? A figure snorted coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. They had been trapped for thousands of years and were already very angry. Now that they were attacked as soon as they came out, how could they not be angry? The two figures walked over with killing intent. Use your blood to atone for your sins. Boom! An old man made a move. His terrifying aura was vast and mighty. The pupils of the surrounding people shrank and their faces turned ugly. Retreat quickly. They frantically retreated, but they were still beaten to the point of vomiting blood. The other old man waved his hand, and a huge black flag appeared in his hand. Countless souls flew out from it, and swept out in all directions. The two of them did not use eye techniques, but their souls were incomparably terrifying. Eye techniques were only one type of soul attacks. There were millions of other types of soul attacks. For example, the sound and the black flag. It was too scary. Even though the people of the ethereal peak were strong and were above the paradise, they were still no match for these two elderly men. They were forced to retreat bit by bit. Go quickly! The elders roared crazily. Zhang Sengxing roared and unleashed his light of annihilation. However, he was unable to block it. There was no choice. The other party was way too strong. Their cultivation states were way higher than theirs. No matter how strong his extinguishing spirit eyes were, it was not enough. The people of the ethereal peak retreated quickly. At the same time, they called for reinforcements from the paradise. When the powerful beings of the paradise rushed over, they were dumbfounded. To think that there were people who could chase after the ethereal peak. Just who were they? When they found out that the two old monsters who came out of the Heaven's Secrets pavilion were, they were so scared that their hairs stood up. How many years ago were these old monsters? Their strength had reached a heaven-defying state. They had to leave this town. However, it was impossible for them to leave this place in a short period of time. They could only shuttle around and escape continuously. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. These people of the ethereal peak were truly courting death. However, they deserved it. Who asked the other party to strike? He guessed that the other party must have wanted to capture him. However, he did not expect that there would be others other than him inside. Outside the Heaven and Earth Palace, countless people were waiting. They did not know what was going on inside. There were sounds of fighting everywhere in the Qianquan ancient city. Some people were fighting with the demonic shadow, while others were rushing towards the Qianquan palace. There were even some people who wanted to settle their previous grudges. At the same time, many people were rushing towards the Qianquan ancient city to look for opportunities. In the sky, a stream of light flashed across, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. A powerful aura suppressed all directions. Wherever it passed, mountains and rivers would shatter and everything would bow down. A terrifying and vast aura spread out in all directions. Thousand Mountain Paradise. The Holy Heaven's old ancestor and Black Ice old ancestor opened their eyes. They felt that the great Tao was dancing between heaven and earth. It was like thousands of lightning bolts that shook the world. What a terrifying great Tao aura! It was a supreme sage. And it was a peak supreme sage. The two of them were really shocked. Although they were supreme sages, they were only in the early stages of the supreme sage realm. They could not be compared to a peak supreme sage. It was like one was on the ground and the other was in the sky. At this moment, the two of them were facing a formidable enemy. Such a terrifying existence had appeared here. Who was it? Was it an existence of the ethereal peak? But it should not be. Even if the ethereal peak had such an existence, it should be in a deep sleep. It would not appear unless it was a matter of life and death. They did not know. In fact, it was not only the Thousand Mountain Paradise. The Flying Feather Paradise, Xiling Paradise, Xingqiu Paradise, and the other 6 paradise were all alarmed. All of them looked solemn. They didn't even dare to investigate. They just kept guessing. What kind of saint was this? Ethereal Peak, the sacred land of martial arts. At this moment, in the core area of the ethereal peak, a few figures suddenly opened their eyes. Then, they tore through the void and came to the sky. Did you feel it? An old man asked. Another middle-aged man nodded. What a powerful great Tao order. It was a peak existence. Reporting to the old ancestor, I wonder why such a person has come here. The other great saints nodded in agreement. They could not make the decision at all. They could only come to the more mysterious cave. The supreme sages said respectfully, Old ancestor, there is a mysterious peak supreme sage in the sky. I wonder if he is here to target the ethereal peak? Old ancestor, please make a decision. There was a cave in front. It was majestic and simple. It was completely silent inside. After about the time it took for an incense stick to burn, a voice came from inside. A peak supreme sage is just a clone. He is not targeting the ethereal peak. After that, there was no more sound from inside. Chapter 45:23. The few great sages outside heaved a sigh of relief after hearing that. Fortunately, it was not targeted at them. However, when they heard that it was a clone, they still felt chills down their spines. How could a clone be so powerful? This was the power of the pinnacle. And from the looks of it, this great sage at the pinnacle was very strong and vigorous, unlike their old ancestor who could only go into seclusion to prolong his life. If such a person were to descend, he would definitely be able to sweep through everything. The figure in the sky was shrouded by thousands of rays of light as if he was born. Everywhere he passed, everything would bow down. Not long after, he arrived above Qianquan Ancient City. The people in Qianquan Ancient City were still fighting for the treasures. However, when they felt the vast aura coming from above the 9 heavens, they stopped. They all stopped what they were doing and raised their heads to look in horror. What was that? An immortal had appeared. The pupils of some of the older experts constricted. A great sage. And it was an extremely terrifying great sage. Was such a person going to descend here? Could it be that some heaven-defying treasure had appeared in Qianquan Ancient City? That peerless expert did not say anything. He stood above the 9 heavens and reached down with a huge hand. Heaven and earth collapsed, and the void was torn apart. Qianquan Ancient City was shaking non-stop. Everyone in Qianquan Ancient City was prostrating on the ground. Qianquan Palace. Many people around were waiting patiently. However, in an instant, the void above split open. A huge hand grabbed over. Who was it? They all shouted angrily. Boom! 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 As the huge hand fell, many people turned into a bloody mist. The young disciples fled frantically. It was too terrifying. A single palm strike was enough to annihilate all of them. This attack went straight to Qianquan Palace. In a mysterious town. The 2 experts who came out of Divine Secrets Pavilion were still chasing after the people of Ethereal Peak. The people of Ethereal Peak were about to break down. They had gathered the experts of the Grotto Heavens for a final defense, but it seemed like they could not hold on any longer. Could it be that they were going to die here again? These people had despair in their eyes. Until now, they still did not know who the enemy was. Damn it, it was all that detestable brat's fault. When they thought of Lin Xian, they gritted their teeth in anger. If not for him, how could they be guarding Divine Secrets Pavilion? How could he possibly make a move and offend these 2 terrifying experts? Right now, Ethereal Peak had already lost 2 elders. Even Zhang Xingxing and the others were injured. In front of them, the 2 experts sneered. Now, all of you can go to hell. Their soul auras erupted once again, suppressing everything. However, at this moment, the void above the heaven and earth great formation cracked open. A huge hand slapped down, enveloping the entire town. Boom! 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 Before the palm could land, the terrifying great Tao laws had already descended, tearing everything apart. Not good. The pupils of the 2 peerless experts shrank as they quickly fled. The faces of the people of Ethereal Peak changed drastically as they fled one after another. The strike landed. The entire town was destroyed, and the Heaven's Legacy race people inside were roaring and dying. They turned into smoke and disappeared between heaven and earth. Those people whose memories had been altered and their souls controlled by the Heaven's Legacy race suddenly woke up. Damn it, what happened? Why can't I remember anything? Why am I kneeling here? Damn it, who buried me? These people roared crazily. They seemed to have experienced a lifetime. Thinking of this, they broke out in cold sweat. They had been hit by an illusion, and it was an illusion that they could not resist. If not for this palm, they would have been buried here for the rest of their lives. On the other side, Xueqi frowned and quickly retreated. Lin Xian's face also changed drastically. Who was this attack? It was too terrifying. He did not dare to resist. He used the void escape technique and quickly dodged. Under this strike, the Heaven's Legacy race was shattered. The people of Ethereal Peak vomited blood and retreated, their injuries even more serious. Who was it? The people of Ethereal Peak gritted their teeth. Even the two peerless experts looked up at the sky, their brows tightly knitted. What Heaven's Legacy race? It had long been destroyed. A mere illusion had no need to exist in this world. A cold voice sounded. Above the 9 heavens, an illusory figure appeared, surrounded by laws. It was as if a heavenly emperor had descended. How terrifying! This was a great saint. And a peak great saint. Those people were terrified. Who could resist the arrival of such an existence? Lin Xian also looked as if he was facing a great enemy. Why would a peak great saint come here? Where did this existence come from? In the sky, the figure sent out another palm strike. The small town that was originally in ruins was now torn into pieces and turned into dust. The people of Heaven's Legacy race from before had all disappeared. Only Lin Xian and the others were still around. Of course, there was another person, an old man. The old man had the demeanor of a transcendent being, and his hair was white. He walked over. As his footsteps landed, the shattered town appeared again. Who was this person? Many people were puzzled. The experts of Ethereal Peak frowned. Zhang Zhengxing also said that he had seen this person before. Was he not hallucinating? Lin Xian was also surprised. This old man was the one who had told him about the existence of the Heaven's Legacy Pavilion. Back then, he felt that this old man was very strange, and his aura was very strange. However, he did not think too much about it at that time. Now, it seemed that this old man was indeed extraordinary. I didn't expect you to be able to find this place. The transcendent old man looked up at the sky and said coldly, "You're just a clone, and you want to come here? Don't you think that's a little arrogant? An illusion is enough to deal with you." The clone in the sky sneered. Boundless radiance radiated from his body and descended, bringing with it an extremely terrifying power. Everyone felt their bodies go cold. It seemed that they could not resist this palm at all, and even escape was impossible. Fortunately, this palm was not aimed at them. Moreover, the transcendent old man also made his move. Suddenly, a terrifying golden light burst out from his eyes, piercing through the world. It was like a sword piercing through the clouds. Boom! Boom, boom, boom! The two collided, tearing apart the 9 heavens. The terrifying aura made everyone retreat. It was too terrifying. Zhang Zhengxing roared. Heaven's Legacy Eye! This was the true Heaven's Legacy Eye. Was this old man from the Heaven's Legacy race? Lin Xian was even more shocked. He could naturally feel a familiar aura. This person was really from the Heaven's Legacy race. Moreover, the other party's eye technique was much more powerful than his. What kind of existence was this to be able to fight against a peak great saint? The golden eye became the only thing in the world, blocking the terrifying palm in the sky. It seems that if I don't use some real means, I won't be able to suppress you, the clone in the sky said coldly. In the next moment, a terrifying power burst out, and the entire world trembled. Everyone in Qianquan ancient city knelt on the ground in fear. Lin Xian and the others also held their breaths. This attack was too powerful. Chapter 45-24. Boom. The punch was like a vast ocean. The force of 10,000 caddies whistled past, and nothing could stop it. Below, the small town was destroyed and turned into nothingness. The old man's figure became blurry as if he was about to disappear. But at this moment, the old man's eyes suddenly emitted a vast aura. The golden light in the sky quickly intertwined and formed a pair of strange eyes. The heavenly secret god eyes had some strange golden runes. But at this moment, the golden runes disappeared. Instead, they were like ripples that overlapped. It was like a black eye with a golden pupil. There were 6 holes that connected to each other and formed a reincarnation diagram. Boom, boom, boom. The moment the eyes appeared, the heavens fell and the earth cracked. The fist that was moving forward collapsed and was suppressed. The figure in the sky stopped. The fist shook and he screamed in fear. Reincarnation eyes. What? Reincarnation eyes. Could it be the legendary Rinnegan eyes? John Tsungxing was so excited that his body trembled. He was going crazy. This was the legendary heavenly secret god eyes. Even Lin Xian was shocked. What was going on? Was it the Rinnegan eyes? What did it have to do with the reincarnation sword? And why was it created by the heavenly secret god eyes? This was unbelievable. The sage-like old man threw his head back and laughed uproariously. His figure dimmed, but his eyes became even more terrifying. That's right, the Rinnegan eyes. Damn it, you're just an illusion. You're not the real Qian Grand Sage. You're no longer at your peak. So what if you have the Rinnegan eyes? The figure in the sky roared crazily. Everyone was shocked. Qian Grand Sage. Could it be the legendary Qian Grand Sage? Lin Xian was shocked too. He had heard of the legend of Qian Grand Sage. He was the disciple of Qian Kun Emperor. Qian Kun Emperor had 2 disciples. They were Qian Grand Sage and Kun Grand Sage. Both of them stood at the peak of the great sage realm and could be said to be invincible. But this was something that happened 100,000 years ago. It was impossible for them to be alive. Lin Xian knew that this was a combination of illusions and remnant souls. That person had been dead for tens of thousands of years. Who was that figure in the sky? That's right, I'm no longer as strong as I used to be, the Qian Grand Sage said coldly. But so what? You are not my junior brother, the Kun Grand Sage. You are merely his descendant. If I'm not wrong, you haven't completely cultivated the 6 paths body, right? How can you compete with Rinnegan? Everyone was shocked once again. The person in the sky was indeed related to the Kun Grand Sage. Not the Kun Grand Sage, but the descendant of the Kun Grand Sage. As for the 6 paths body, what was that? Lin Xian was also surprised, but he felt that it had something to do with the Samsara sword. Rinnegan, 6 paths body. Lin Xian felt that this matter was becoming more and more mysterious. It seemed that the power related to the Samsara sword was about to appear. Is that so? Although I haven't fully cultivated the 6 paths body, I have already cultivated some of the 6 paths fists. I'll let you experience the power of my 6 Dao fist. After he finished speaking, he roared at the sky, and a terrifying fist rushed down. 6 phantoms appeared between heaven and earth, as if they were connected to 6 different worlds. With a single punch, the heavens fell and the earth cracked. Boom! 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 The Rinnegan of the Qian Grand Sage's phantoms exploded with boundless radiance. It charged toward the 6 paths fists. When the 2 of them collided, the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation exploded and engulfed everyone. No! Are we going to die? Although the 2 of them weren't real bodies, their power was definitely at the level of a great sage. Moreover, they were at the late stage of the great sage realm, and they couldn't resist such power. Lin Xian also felt that his body was about to split open. His body flickered, and he used the void escape technique to come to Xueqi's side. He was about to use the Grand Sage Pagoda to defend himself. However, at this moment, the Qian Grand Sage sneered. It's useless. I know that you want the Rinnegan. However, you don't have the opportunity to obtain it. After he finished speaking, the Rinnegan exploded with radiance once again. Reincarnation, heaven and earth. Everyone felt as if heaven and earth had been turned upside down, and the sun and the moon were spinning. Their bodies were enveloped by a mysterious power. After that, they were teleported out. At this moment, Lin Xian felt as if he had been struck by lightning. This was because he sensed a voice surging into his soul outside of this mystical power. Fated One, I didn't expect you to be able to comprehend the mysterious 12 maps and possess the mysterious Heavenly God eyes. You are a descendant of the mysterious Heavenly God race. There are a total of 24 mysterious Heavenly God diagrams. The last 12 diagrams are with me. I will now pass them to you. After you finish cultivating the 24 mysterious Heavenly God diagrams, you will be able to form the Rinnegan. At that time, you will have the opportunity to summon the Sword of Reincarnation. Also, don't get caught by the successor of the 6 paths, remember. The voice sounded and disappeared in an instant. In the next moment, Lin Xian felt that there were 12 more diagrams in his mind. A total of 24 diagrams. At the same time, he was extremely shocked. The mysterious Heavenly God eyes were evolving and could become the Rinnegan. Moreover, the Rinnegan could summon the Sword of Reincarnation. This was unbelievable. Damn it, you actually passed the Rinnegan to someone else. Who did you give it to? Between heaven and earth, a roar sounded. The peerless doppelganger roared crazily. The Qian Grand Sage's final voice disappeared. It's useless. You will never know where the Rinnegan went. Damn it! No one here is allowed to escape. I will search your soul strictly. I don't believe that you can hide it anywhere. A powerful force enveloped Lin Xian and the others. Everyone felt as if their bodies were being torn apart. Not good, the peerless doppelganger of the great sage wants to kill them. Even Lin Xian's face turned pale. Although he had obtained the 24 mysterious Heavenly God diagrams, with his current strength, he was unable to resist the doppelganger. Fortunately, the Qian Grand Sage's power managed to send them out of the Universal Palace safely. At the same time, the doppelganger was enveloped and disappeared. Are we saved? After Lin Xian and the others came out, they heaved a sigh of relief. Shuiqi heaved a sigh of relief and revealed a smile. It was really a new lease of life. The other people's faces were also gloomy. They did not expect that such a peerless figure would appear in the end. Fortunately, they had the Rinnegan of the Qian Grand Sage. Otherwise, they would have died. What did the last words mean? The Rinnegan disappeared. Could it be that it was passed to someone else? Moreover, the doppelganger would not let them go. Was it because someone among them had obtained it? In an instant, a terrifying radiance burst out from Zhang Xingxing's eyes. He looked around and stared at everyone. Stop looking. Do you really think that any of us can obtain the Rinnegan? What a joke. That guy just said it casually to deceive the doppelganger of the great sage. That's right, this was just a diversion. It was unbelievable. The 2 old men said coldly. After hearing that, the others sighed. Indeed, the Sword of Reincarnation was such a terrifying inheritance. How could they have obtained it? The people of Qianquan ancient city acted as if they were facing a great enemy. A great sage had just left, and now another great sage had arrived. Moreover, there was more than one. Indeed, Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He concealed his aura and did not act rashly. The toad jumped over and said, So many great sages, what's going on? When this fellow entered the Universal Palace and discovered that the aura there was not right, he immediately jumped out. He had not experienced what had happened before. However, the clone from before still made him feel as if he was facing a great enemy. Now, so many great sages had appeared. Lin Xian said, I think they should be investigating the identity of the previous one. As expected, these great sages were from the various grotto heavens and the misty peak. After they arrived, they carefully investigated. That figure had already left. They communicated with each other, and then heaved a sigh of relief. Then, they began to ask their disciples what was going on. When they learned that the person who came was the descendant of the Kuan Great Sage, moreover, when the phantom of the Qian Great Sage appeared, as well as the Rinnegan and the 6 paths body, they were all stunned. These legendary existences had all appeared now? Quickly search. They entered the Universal Tower, only to find that it had already turned into nothingness. Nothing existed anymore. Damn it, the supreme creation had disappeared in front of them just like that. These great sages could not bear it, and roared at the sky. The stars in the sky cracked and the moon shook as if the world was about to end. Since the Qian Great Sage and the Kun Great Sage had both appeared, the legend of Qiankuan Ancient City was true. This was definitely a city built by the Great Emperor, and it must contain the secrets of the Great Emperor. These great sages joined forces and began to search the Qiankuan Ancient City. They even used monstrous laws of the Great Path to attack. The Qiankuan Ancient City shook and many people vomited blood. Lin Xian's face was also pale. Were these guys crazy? These great sages used terrifying supernatural powers and endless light rushed towards the Qiankuan Ancient City. At this moment, the Qiankuan Ancient City seemed to have changed and shone again. Those demonic shadows roared and they all prostrated on the ground. The surrounding people could not breathe. Now, there were 10 great sages. The 10 great sages were like gods, suppressing heaven and earth. Under their joint forces, the Qiankuan Ancient City changed. Finally, the Qiankuan Ancient City cracked open and countless rays of light flowed. At the same time, countless divine crystals flew out. It was like a meteor shower, causing countless people to exclaim. There were things sealed in those divine crystals. Quickly, these people were snatching frantically. Humph! In the sky, a great sage snorted and struck down like lightning. Suddenly, hundreds of figures shattered and turned into a bloody mist. The others were frightened and no longer dared to move. Snatching treasures in front of these great sages was courting death. The geniuses of Ethereal Peak were the same. Their eyes were burning, but they did not dare to act rashly. Lin Xian was also surprised. As expected of a great sage, his vision was broader than theirs. They had searched for so long but did not find anything. They only found a small amount of Sage King's will. The moment these great sages made a move, so many treasures appeared. He did not move, but Little White began to move. He took out the treasure bowl and began to collect the treasures. He did not take many, but each time, it was a very important treasure. Not long after, a small mountain was piled up on his side. Those great sages ignored him. Their eyes were like divine light that swept through the ancient city. Heaven and Earth Emperor was incomparably terrifying. There were many legends about him, and his 2 disciples were also very famous. But other than the Rinnegan and 6 Paths body, Heaven and Earth Emperor had an extreme Tao Emperor weapon. Reincarnation Disc. But in the legends, the reincarnation disc did not appear. Now that the relationship between Qiankuan Ancient City and Heaven and Earth Emperor was confirmed, they guessed that the real reincarnation disc was very likely in this ancient city. If they could get it, then whether it was them or their grotto heavens, they would soar into the sky. So, how could these great sages not be excited? Attack! The 10 great sages were like heavenly gods descending from heaven. The entire Qiankuan Ancient City shook violently. Suddenly, the sky shook and the earth shook. A large formation appeared, covering the world. Not good. There was a formation. Was it left behind by the Heaven and Earth Emperor? Countless exclamations sounded, and even those great sages were incomparably solemn. Chapter 45-26. There was only a corner of the array, but it covered the world, making everyone's hair stand on end. Those great sages were trapped in an instant. They could no longer care about anything else and attacked with all their might. Seeing this scene, many people exclaimed, "Good opportunity, quickly attack." They didn't dare to attack when so many treasures were dropped. Now that the great sages were trapped, it was a good opportunity to snatch the treasures. Get lost! This belongs to our ethereal peak. Whoever dares to snatch it will die. Ming Chen roared crazily. He shot out the water of the river Styx, which swept across the 9 heavens. His physique was very strong, and many people were sent flying in an instant. On the other side, Tyranny also attacked. With a slash, a peerless saber light bloomed, illuminating the 9 heavens. Jian Cengxing was even more terrifying. As soon as the exterminating spirit eyes came out, it was unparalleled. Everyone who was swept by his gaze turned into nothingness. The 3 geniuses of ethereal peak were unparalleled, suppressing the world. His strength was so strong that it caused everyone to be terrified. The geniuses of Grotto Heaven couldn't compare at all. However, it wasn't just the younger generation here. There were also many experts of the older generation. At this moment, they were also attacking. Brat, this is a good opportunity. The toad laughed loudly and rushed out. Lin Xian also attacked. On the other side, Xue Qi and the people of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven also attacked. Everyone was fighting for the treasures. Get lost, this is what we want. The people of White Cloud Grotto Heaven roared and rushed toward Lin Xian. Terrifying sword Qi swept through everything like a mountain. It engulfed Lin Xian. Lin Xian wasn't afraid and blocked with his divine body. He walked out of the peerless sword light unscathed. Then, he punched out, and 3 figures were sent flying, their faces full of fear. Damn, so scary. Lin Xian waved his hand and grabbed a divine crystal. Then, he attacked again and forced the people of Flying Feather Grotto Heaven and Purple Spirit Grotto Heaven to retreat. Damn it, it's that kid, catch him! These people attacked crazily. Lin Xian channeled the power of these divine crystals into his body. What was sealed was actually universe Qi. Such terrifying power. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He absorbed with all his might. He wanted to break through to the Saint King level in this place. After absorbing the Qiankuan Qi, Lin Xian attacked again. At the same time, the powerful beings from the paradise rushed over as well. Lin Xian fought against it. At this time, an elder-level person was killed. Move aside, let me kill him. Terrifying laws swept through everything, making Lin Xian feel as if he was facing a great enemy. Lin Xian summoned the Devil's Shadow to fight back. The black claw tore through everything, tearing the void apart, forming a black hole. At the same time, 6 demonic shadows appeared and circled around him. A great battle instantly broke out. It was abnormally terrifying. Lin Xian was simply too strong. Even in the face of the attacks from so many Grotto Heavens, he was still fearless. He snatched a lot of Qiankuan Qi from these people. Those people's eyes turned red. Lin Xian used the void escape technique and left to the other side. The divine crystal in front of him was even larger, like a small mountain. There was even more Qiankuan Qi inside. There were 8 strands. 8 strands of Qiankuan Qi, each strand like a divine rainbow, carrying shocking power. Lin Xian rushed over. At the same time, 5 other figures rushed over. He attacked forcefully, forcing 2 of them back. The other 3 wanted to attack together. At this moment, a cold snort sounded. You want to steal such a peerless treasure with just you? There was a loud laugh, and a peerless blade light flashed in the sky. The bodies of the 3 people split open, their faces full of fear. It's tyranny. Retreat! They frantically retreated. Tyranny landed and looked at Lin Xian. Their voice was cold. Kneel down and accept your death. Lin Xian sneered. You don't have the right to say that. Not knowing the difference between life and death, tyranny once again slashed out a peerless blade light. The world shook as it charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian swung his fist, punching towards the peerless blade light. The terrifying power swept through like the sea, shattering the sky. You're just SOSO. Lin Xian sneered. Tyranny's face was cold. Since the opponent could defeat Dark Star, it meant that the opponent was very strong. He naturally wouldn't be careless. Just now, it was just a casual attack. Next, I'll let you see my peerless blade technique. Tyrannical blade technique of heaven and earth. 4 peerless blade lights appeared around him, constantly revolving. Endless light swept through the 9 heavens, slashing forward. Tyrannical blade technique of heaven and earth was a peerless blade technique with boundless power. At this moment, it was condensed and could definitely destroy everything. People of the same level couldn't resist at all. Even the body of the underworld king couldn't stop it. The surrounding people felt the terrifying blade light and immediately retreated. It was too scary. He was going all out. Lin Xian was also surprised. Looking at the 4 blades, he was shocked. He had to admit that the opponent's blade light was indeed very strong. No wonder the opponent was ranked 2nd. He was stronger than Dark Star. He used the 10 ultimate sword formation to fight. Terrifying sword chi swept in all directions, colliding with the 4 blades. Shocking killing intent appeared, making everyone's hair stand on end. Many people looked at the 2 peerless figures fighting in front of them, their faces full of shock. 10 ultimate sword formation. Lin Xian seemed to have turned into a peerless sword god. His terrifying sword intent swept through everything. Tyranny was shocked. He had heard that the opponent's physique was stronger than the body of the underworld king. In his view, the opponent was also an expert in close combat with an extremely strong physique. But now, it was completely beyond his imagination. The opponent wasn't using his powerful physique, but sword chi. The power of each sword chi shocked him, causing his saber to tremble uncontrollably. He was famous for his blade techniques. No matter how strong the opponent's physique was, he could still break it. He was confident that he could break the opponent's physique. But the opponent's sword chi shocked him. It even made him wonder if his blade light could block it. These peerless blades didn't hurt the opponent. Instead, the opponent's sword chi made him feel like he was facing a great enemy. Fight! With a roar, the 10 ultimate sword formation completely erupted. The front turned into a world of swords, swallowing everything. How terrifying! The people in the distance were shocked. Was Tyranny at a disadvantage? This guy's sword was actually so terrifying. When the sky full of sword light disappeared, Tyranny's figure appeared. His armor was shattered, and there were many sword wounds. Blood flowed out. He was injured. Tyranny's expression was incomparably fierce. "Kid, you dare to injure me? I will make you pay a painful price." "Ah!" He roared at the sky, his domineering aura surging. The law of the great Tao condensed into a peerless overlord. The overlord held a blade in his hand. He was extraordinarily mighty. When he attacked, the power was even stronger than before. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He used the 10 ultimate sword formation. His sword slashed out like an immortal flying from the heavens. Boom! Tyranny snorted. The overlord's phantom blocked the 10 ultimate sword formation. At the same time, he attacked, forming a 5th blade in his hand. The overlord slashed. This blade seemed to be able to cut through everything. Lin Xian swung his fist. It turned into a golden sun, flying in the sky. Against the peerless blade. Boom, boom, boom! The overlord's blade was blocked. Lin Xian's arm was also numb. So strong! This worldly tyrant blade technique was truly a peerless ability. He laughed. "Take another move." With a wave of his hand, a Taiji diagram appeared, and he pushed it out. The power of yin and yang swept through everything, sending the blade flying. Chapter 45-27. How is this possible? Tyranny was sent flying again, coughing up blood. His face was full of shock. His opponent still had a trump card? Damn it! His face was cold. Was he going to go all out with immolation? Lin Xian said coldly. "You're no match for me." He waved his hand and grabbed at the 8 strands of universe chi. "I'll help you." At this moment, a figure came from behind, bringing with him the power of death. He attacked Lin Xian's back. Good chance. Tyranny also slashed at Lin Xian's arm. With a loud clang, Lin Xian's arm was shaken to the point where it deviated from its course and grabbed at the air. The aura of death behind him turned into a fist and punched him. His body swayed, and he was sent flying, crashing into countless mountains. The people in the distance cried out in alarm. That guy was injured. Dark Star had attacked. Were these two going to work together? Lin Xian landed, his eyes filled with killing intent. Since I've attacked, I'll take half of the universe chi. Dark Star said. Tyranny snorted, his expression cold. He said to deal with that kid first. He knew that even though they worked together, that attack just now was not enough to kill the opponent. Up ahead, the endless mountains shattered, and a figure strode over, crushing the ground. It was Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face was cold, his black hair dancing wildly. Sneak attacking me? You'll pay the price. Do you think you can fight me just because the two of you work together? He was really angry. Attack together. Dark Star roared and charged over, fighting Lin Xian. Tyranny activated their sabers, using the Heaven and Earth Tyrant Saber art, and attacked again. Kill! Lin Xian roared at the sky, his fists swinging as he fought with Tyranny's physique. At the same time, the 10 absolute swords in his hand danced. A Taiji diagram appeared above his head, and yin and yang sword chi rained down. Lin Xian was fighting 1 against 2, but he was not at a disadvantage. Dark Star and Tyranny were both going crazy. Even with the two of them working together, they still couldn't suppress him? How could this be? The people in the distance were also stunned. How did this guy do it? If those two joined hands, even Zhang Sengxing would have to retreat. But this kid actually did it. Could it be that his strength surpassed Zhang Sengxing's? Everyone found it hard to believe. Damn it! Underworld deity art. The Nether God was infuriated. Mingchen roared, and a phantom of the god of the underworld appeared on his body. He roared to the sky and punched out. On the other side, Tyranny also used the Heaven and Earth tyrannical sword art, forming a terrifying tyrannical sword. Lin Xian roared, using the 10 extinction swords and the 9 yang divine body to resist. At the same time, a golden light appeared in his eyes as he activated his heavenly secret divine eyes. Kneel! Lin Xian roared at Mingchen. Mingchen felt as if his head was about to split open. A powerful will rushed into his mind, affecting his soul. It was as if there was a voice in the depths of his soul telling him to submit to the other party. Boom! His terrifying primordial monarch body fell to his knees in the void with a loud boom. Heavens, what did I just see? The people in the distance all went crazy. Lin Xian ordered, and the other party knelt. What kind of attack was this? Tyranny also felt their hair stand on end. Was this guy crazy? He roared as he attacked with his tyrannical sword. 5 swords to protect him. He looked into the other party's eyes, his face filled with fear. Was this an eye technique? 1. Lin Xian's expression was cold, like a supreme god. He turned to stare at Tyranny and said coldly, Submit. Tyranny felt as if their soul was about to split open. He roared madly, and a peerless sword light flashed between his eyebrows, protecting his soul and resisting. Pooh! The next moment, he spat out blood and flew backwards. He didn't submit to the other party, but his soul was still injured. This was the heavenly secret divine eyes, and Lin Xian had comprehended it. After obtaining the first 12 heavenly secret diagrams, his heavenly secret divine eyes had increased in power. No matter how strong these two were, they probably couldn't block his eye technique. Lin Xian was very satisfied. His eye technique had become stronger than before, and now he could defeat a mid-stage holy king. Dark Star's physique was strong, but his soul was average, so when he ordered, the other party was instantly hit. As for Tyranny, he was a peerless blade master. Blade masters and blade masters had very strong wills, and their souls were far stronger than others. However, although the other party didn't submit, he was still injured. In the blink of an eye, the alliance formed by these two experts was broken. Countless people were shocked. This guy was too strong. Perhaps only Zhang Sengxing could fight against him. Damned brat! Tyranny roared madly. On the other side, Dark Star recovered. After all, he had the immemorial imperial body, and his bloodline was extraordinary. Even though he was hit, he woke up in an instant. When he realized that he had knelt and submitted to the other party, he was so angry that his lungs were about to burst. Damn it, I'm going to kill you, I'm definitely going to kill you. This was the second time he had lost to Lin Xian. As a top genius with the immemorial imperial body, he wouldn't allow himself to lose like this. His eyes were bloodshot, and the laws on his body were about to burn. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Was this guy crazy? Perfect, his sole attack could completely control the other party. 1. Heavenly secret god eyes glowed again. You want to kill me? Come, then let's kill you. An ant like you can't even block a finger of mine. What right do you have to challenge me? Also, I'm not here, I'm there. Defeating him is defeating me. Lin Xian's eyes glowed with golden light, and he pointed at Tyranny. His eye technique had many attacks now. It could directly attack the other party's soul, or it could instantly create illusions to control the other party's soul, and even change the other party's memories. At this moment, Lin Xian controlled the other party's soul. Lin Xian disappeared from Dark Star's eyes. Instead, Tyranny became Lin Xian. With a roar, he charged at Tyranny like a madman. His fist swung, and the world trembled. Tyranny felt this power, and their faces turned cold. Are you crazy? He sent out a peerless sword light. Damn brat, I'll kill you! I'll definitely kill you! Dark Star roared madly as he attacked, and he clashed with Tyranny. Tyranny's face was cold. He knew that this guy had been hit by an illusion. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. He also charged over, and the two engaged in a fierce battle. In reality, Tyranny didn't know that he had also been hit. Lin Xian's eye technique had already affected him. Although he was a peerless blade master, he was too arrogant, and didn't put anything in his eyes. Lin Xian used his eye technique to magnify this arrogance, so at this moment, Tyranny also attacked wildly. Under normal circumstances, he should have quickly left. But he didn't. Watching the two fight, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed the 8 strands of universe energy and absorbed them all. At this moment, his power surged wildly. At the same time, he took out half of the treasures he had collected before and directly devoured them. Terrifying power surged. Chapter 45-28. Lin Xian felt that there were signs of a breakthrough. But it was still not enough. He was now at the peak of the sacred venerate realm. One more step and he would be a half-step sacred ruler. However, Lin Xian did not plan to stop there. He planned to break through to the sacred ruler realm in one go. That was not enough. He needed more power. Lin Xian swept his gaze across the surroundings. He wanted to search for more Qianquan Qi or other natural treasures. Elder Luqin looked into the distance and found the 2 geniuses of Ethereal Peak fighting. And that guy was still searching. Damn it! She charged out because she found that the 6 demonic shadows beside Lin Xian were fighting with the experts of the other grotto heavens. This way, there would be no demonic shadows to protect him. It was also a good opportunity for her to kill him. As a young elder, she had long reached the mid-stage of the sacred ruler realm. Her status and identity could be said to be unparalleled. However, she was chased by a sacred venerate and even heard about it. It made her lose face. Today, she would use his life to wash away all of this. Lin Xian had obtained 8 strands of Qianquan Qi, which made countless people envious. Many people were ready to attack. Lin Xian's gaze swept across, causing these people to be terrified. In that instant, their souls seemed to have been destroyed. This person also knew a terrifying eye technique? It was too terrifying. Why do I feel that his eyes are not weaker than Zhang Cixing's spirit-exterminating eyes? Leave quickly. This person is not to be trifled with. Many experts retreated quickly. But a figure charged over. The sound of the zither turned into a terrifying divine sword, piercing through heaven and earth. Elder Luqin charged over, bringing with her endless sound that swept over quickly. This was also a soul attack. It was extremely powerful. Kid, I'll let you experience my 7th slaughter demonic sound. Elder Luqin was extremely powerful. She turned into 7 phantoms and enveloped Lin Xian. Every illusory figure had a guqin, and they were playing it non-stop. The sounds from the zither were different. Some were terrifying, like thunder descending. Some were low, like the autumn leaves. Some were filled with endless killing intent, while others were filled with terrifying flames. Different soul attacks exploded between heaven and earth. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people frantically retreated. This attack was too terrifying. They had heard that Elder Lu Qin was able to fight against 3 cultivators of the same cultivation with the 7 slaughtering demonic sound. Such a person was simply undefeatable. Lin Xian frowned as he felt the sound of the zither coming from all directions. In the next moment, he sneered and the divine map in his eyes bloomed. Golden light circled around him, forming a powerful soul defense. He could already tell that the so-called 7 slaughter demonic sound was merely 7 different powers. It was indeed a soul attack, a terrifying attack. If it was indeed difficult for her to deal with before, she even had to use the devil's shadow to fight. However, things were different now. His heavenly secret divine eyes were much stronger than before. Facing the 7 kills demonic zither, he was not afraid at all. Go to hell, brat! Elder Lu Qin snorted coldly, and the 7 phantoms spoke in unison. The sound of the magic zither burst in a frenzy. The area in front of them had turned into a land of death. No one dared to move forward. Anyone who got close would have their soul destroyed. Boundless golden light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes, which turned into sharp swords that swept in all directions. Although your soul attack is powerful, it can't compete with mine. The light in Lin Xian's eyes swept out. His terrifying soul power was like a vast ocean that swept through the 9 heavens. At this moment, everyone went crazy. How can this guy's eye technique be so terrifying? Zhang Sengxing, who was fighting for treasures in the distance, also turned his head abruptly. His exterminating spirit eyes turned into the light of destruction. Heavenly secret eyes. He also has the heavenly secret eyes. Damn it, is he from the heavenly secret clan? Or did he get the Rinnegan? At the thought of this, he madly rushed over. Your opponent is me. Shuiqi took a step forward, bringing with her boundless black frost that froze everything. Just you? You want to stop me? The exterminating spirit eyes were unleashed, and the boundless frost instantly melted. However, the frost around Shuiqi was still there. After all, she had the 9 body. Although Shuiqi had just arrived, and her cultivation was not as high as her opponent's, however, it was impossible for the enemy to completely destroy it. Huh! Zhang Sengxing was taken aback. Someone could block his eye. Who are you? You are from the paradise, right? I am ordering you to get lost. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. Zhang Sengxing did not have time to pay attention to him, as he was too anxious. He must capture him and ask him about his secrets. Shuiqi said, Zhang Sengxing, you are ranked first in the ethereal plane. Now I also want to see how powerful you are. You don't have the qualifications to destroy everything. His eye blossomed with radiance, and wherever it passed, heaven and earth would be destroyed. Shuiqi felt a great pressure, and her face turned pale as she retreated. Shuiqi unleashed his 9 body to its pinnacle, and boundless frost condensed around him. He is so powerful! Shuiqi used the 9 eyes to protect her soul, and her face turned pale. Fortunately, she had the 9 body. Otherwise, if it was her previous self, if she had been in the past, she would have been destroyed by his eye. Elder Brother Xian is so powerful. He is unexpectedly fighting against someone of such a level. Shuiqi took a deep breath and took out a formation to fight against him. She had set up those formations before, and now, they were finally put to good use. Trifling formations would not be able to withstand a single blow. Shuiqi unleashed his exterminating spirit eyes once again. The 2 formations turned into nothingness, and the people in the vicinity were stunned. Isn't that Fairy Shuiqi? Why is he fighting against Zhang Sengxing? It is a pity that Fairy Shuiqi has become a saint king. However, she is still unable to contend against Zhang Sengxing. Many sighs could be heard. Xueqi instantly fell into a disadvantageous position, and the 1,000 Mountain Paradise's elders felt their scalps go numb. They wanted to help Xueqi, but they did not dare to do so, as they were worried that Xueqi would die. He was really nervous to the extreme. At this moment, a terrifying roar echoed throughout heaven and earth, and it charged toward Zhang Cengxing. Zhang Cengxing used his exterminating spirit eyes to destroy it. A toad's figure appeared. "Lad, let me teach you a lesson." The toad jumped out. He knew that Xueqi was trying to stop Zhang Cengxing from joining Elder Lu Qin. If that happened, Lin Xian would be in great danger. How dare a trifling toad act so arrogantly in front of me? Zhang Cengxing unleashed his exterminating light once again. He was really angry, and he would surely destroy his opponent's star soul. The toad quickly dodged, and it was sent flying. However, it did not shatter. Some marks appeared on its body, but it did not split open. Damn it! What kind of body does this toad have? How can it block my exterminating spirit eyes? The toad roared in pain. "Lad, you have thoroughly angered me. I will let you know how powerful I am." It charged forward, and all kinds of poison laws danced in heaven and earth. However, the exterminating spirit eyes were really powerful. Even though Xueqi had the 9-yin body in a formation, she was still unable to suppress him. Even with the toad's help, she could not suppress Zhang Cengxing. She was even at a disadvantage. It was possible that she would be severely injured, or she would be hunted down. Chapter 45-29. At this moment, a figure appeared behind Zhang Cengxing and turned into a small monkey. A claw slapped his face. Zhang Cengxing was stunned. This was dizziness. This was something he had never felt before in his life. His soul had been knocked out. What a joke! He had the exterminating spirit eyes. But he had really been knocked out. Although it was only for a second, it had still shocked him. Xueqi and Toad were experts. 1 second was enough for them to launch thousands of attacks. The two of them instantly attacked, and the terrifying power sent Zhang Cengxing flying. Boom! 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 Zhang Cengxing's body fell down and shattered the endless mountain range. No way, the two of them had really forced Zhang Cengxing to retreat. Everyone was in disbelief. The people of Ethereal Peak were stunned. That was the #1 Zhang Cengxing. How did these people do it? Lin Xian looked at this scene and laughed. It seems that guy won't come to help you. Elder Lu Qin snorted coldly. Do I need his help to kill you? You were able to escape earlier because you had the demon shadow. Now that the demon shadow isn't by your side, killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. As they spoke, the 7 figures attacked together, and the void in front of them kept breaking. The huge soul vortex made everyone feel despair. Lin Xian stood there and golden light burst out from his eyes. He turned into a golden flame and flew out. It carried a destructive aura. The golden flame turned into a golden crow in the air. Boom! Under the influence of this soul fire, all of the zither music disappeared. How was this possible? How could this guy's eye technique be so powerful? He was just a saint venerable. How could his soul be comparable to a mid-stage Saint King? Elder Lu Qin was extremely shocked. She gritted her teeth. This person must not continue to grow. And she realized that his eyes were very similar to the Tianji divine eyes. Was this person from the Tianji clan? If that was the case, then all the more she couldn't let him live. Suppress him. She attacked with all her strength. Demonic music came from the 7 killing demon zither. It turned into 7 phantoms like a demon god. Some were wearing battle armor, and some were holding sharp swords. They stood in the void and attacked Lin Xian. This was the strongest attack of the 7 kills heavenly demon sound. If you were a late-stage Saint King, I would have retreated. But you are only a mid-stage Saint King. You are no match for me. Lin Xian sneered. This completely infuriated the 7 demonic shadows in the sky. That demonic godlike figure roared madly and charged over. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes grew colder, and colder. Heavenly fate shatter! As his voice fell, a pair of golden eyes appeared between heaven and earth, overlooking all living things. The light emitted from those eyes enveloped the 7 demon gods. Thereafter, the entire space shattered completely. The bodies of the other demon gods split apart and disappeared. Elder Lucine spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. The 7 phantoms disappeared and only her real body appeared. Her face was pale. She didn't dare believe it. How could this be? The other party had broken her ultimate art with a single glance? Tianji God eyes. You have Tianji eyes. Kill him quickly. He got the Rinnegan. Elder Lucine roared madly. As soon as he said this, everyone was shocked. Is the Rinnegan in his body? Many people looked over at him, their faces filled with shock. Lin Xian's face became gloomy and he snorted coldly. You are courting death. The golden eyes enveloped Elder Lucine as the Tianji shatter erupted. Elder Lucine retreated, her arms turning into a bloody mist. If it weren't for the zither blocking her soul would have already been extinguished. Her arms hung limply by her side. The soul in her arms had been shattered. It would be extremely difficult for her to recover. She was so frightened that she roared and quickly fled. You should leave first. As Lin Xian looked at the fiery red eyes around him, his expression became ice-cold. There will probably be a difficult battle today. He transmitted his voice to Xueqi and the toad. When the 2 of them heard him, their expressions became grave. Leave quickly! The toad shouted, jumped up, and flew into the distance. Xueqi also knew that she wouldn't be able to fight in the following battle. If she stayed here, she would only allow Lin Xian to create a clone. This was why she also left the battlefield. Zhang Xingxing charged over. Lad, your eyes are mine. He was extremely crazy. The Tianji divine eyes and the opponent's exterminating spirit eyes looked at each other, and the power between them exploded. One could shatter heaven and earth, while the other could destroy everything. The collision of their soul powers brought about a boundless storm. The people who were charging over instantly fell from the sky. Some of them had their souls injured, while some had their souls destroyed. Get lost! Lin Xian roared and forced Zhang Xingxing to retreat. At the same time, he punched out. Zhang Xingxing quickly dodged. Damn it! His opponent's eye techniques weren't any weaker than his, and his physique was stronger than his. His opponent also had a terrifying sword technique. His opponent was like Zhang Xingxing, Tyranny, and Dark Star working together. When these 3 great techniques were gathered on a single person, it was really terrifying. Lin Xian's expression was ice-cold as he looked disdainfully at the surroundings. He said coldly, The heaven and earth chi in this place is all mine. Anyone who tries to take it from me will die. A terrifying voice resounded. Lin Xian's body emitted a golden light, and his killing intent was shocking. He directly charged out. The surrounding people retreated in fright, and some of them were angry. Just by you. Among them, there was no lack of experts from the older generation. They didn't believe that his opponent could be so strong. Everyone attacked together. No matter how strong he is, he's just one person. I don't believe that he can defy the heavens. Countless people charged over, using all kinds of divine abilities. They injured some people, and then their divine bodies opened and closed. Sword chi swept in all directions. However, there were too many people. Lin Xian used the void escape and quickly dodged. Great, he escaped. He's no match for us. Attack! These people seemed to have won, and quickly chased after Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. His heavenly secret god eyes were activated to the extreme. Wherever his gaze passed, he began to control those demonic shadows. The demonic shadows roared, but the power of reincarnation in his eyes controlled them. 1 demonic shadow, 2 demonic shadows. Dozens of demonic shadows were controlled, and the number was still increasing. Lin Xian could control 6 demonic shadows before. However, after he comprehended the heavenly secret map, His eye technique increased by more than 10 times. So now, Lin Xian could control dozens of demonic shadows effortlessly. Roar! These demonic shadows roared into the sky and charged over crazily, fighting with the experts of the surrounding grotto heavens. Not only that, Lin Xian controlled hundreds of demonic shadows in the end. His face was pale, and he frowned slightly. Obviously, it had consumed a lot of his energy. However, he couldn't care less. This time, he had to succeed. After absorbing the natural treasures he had obtained, Lin Xian ordered the hundreds of demonic shadows to attack. These demonic shadows joined forces, roared, and attacked quickly. They fought with the people of the grotto heavens. No one dared to attack Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly collected the Qiankuing Qi between heaven and earth. The power in his body was increasing. This guy. Elder Luqin was terrified and didn't dare to attack anymore. Chapter 45-30. Zhang Cengxing roared. He was also trapped by the demonic shadows. The others were the same. Moreover, the 10 supreme sages in front attacked Qiankuan ancient city together, causing a supreme array to appear. The power of the array was still spreading and getting stronger, affecting the heaven and earth. Besides the supreme array, all the Qiankuan Qi that appeared nearby was all taken by Lin Xian. This was a shocking amount. No one knew how many tens of thousands of years the Qiankuan Qi had existed. Every one of them was extremely terrifying. At this moment, all of them gathered on Lin Xian. It was really terrifying. Lin Xian felt that his divine body was about to split open. This powerful force made him have to break through quickly. Roar! With a roar, Lin Xian stopped resisting. At this moment, the power in his body exploded, connecting the heaven and earth. In the sky, endless thunderclouds spread, forming terrifying lightning. Not good, he was about to break through. Seeing this scene, many people's eyes turned red. Once he broke through, the Qiankuan Qi would completely disappear and become the other party's power. They would not be able to take it anymore. Damn it! With a roar, an extremely sharp light burst out from Zhang Cengxing's eyes, forming an array and sending it out. At the same time, the elders of Ethereal Peak received the news. Suddenly, a few figures descended from the sky. They walked out of the array. Not good, it's the experts of Ethereal Peak. Let's move out too. The surrounding experts did the same. This time, they were going to summon the terrifying existence of a Supreme Sage King. Boom! The Supreme Sage King of Ethereal Peak was the first to move out. As soon as they descended, they swept out in all directions. It was a woman with a cold expression. She suppressed hundreds of demonic shadows with one hand. This was the difference in cultivation level. No matter how strong these demonic shadows were, they could not do anything to a Supreme Sage King. The second Supreme Sage King appeared. It was a man in a blue robe. He was mighty and extraordinary, and his body was covered in starlight. It was someone from the Star Tribe. When he appeared, he formed a star map that filled the sky. He completely sealed those demonic shadows. The appearance of 2 Supreme Sage Kings solved the current crisis. At the same time, Supreme Sage Kings appeared in those grotto heavens. After they arrived, their powerful auras suppressed the entire area. Many gazes looked at Lin Xian. Elder, kill him! Those from the White Cloud Wonderland and the Violet Spirit Wonderland gnashed their teeth. Said Zhang Cengxing. Elder, suppress him. He might have obtained the reincarnation eyes. Rinnegan? An extremely cold light burst out from their eyes. They had to get it. It belonged to their misty peak. The 2 late-stage Saint Kings walked up, suppressing the heaven and earth. The endless void shattered. The other sacred kings of the paradise also walked over one after another. When Xueqi saw this scene, she became extremely nervous. What should she do? Lin Xian is really in danger. The toad also cried out in alarm. This brat should be fine, right? And tell me, did you get the Rinnegan? The 2 late-stage holy kings stared at Lin Xian, their voices cold. At this moment, Lin Xian's power was exploding out continuously as he prepared to go through the tribulation with all his might. Who would care about such a thing? Seeing that Lin Xian did not reply, the blue-robed man snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, the starry sky map flew over. He wanted to completely seal Lin Xian. At this moment, the lightning in the sky struck down. With a cracking sound, the starry sky map shook. The late-stage Saint King's expression changed. Not good, this does not seem to be an ordinary lightning tribulation. He wanted to retreat, but it was already too late. The lightning in the sky struck down. It was blood-red lightning, and a terrifying aura swept out in all directions. In an instant, he was sent flying. Not good. The woman beside him also retreated quickly, and the other Paradise Saints also fled. An extremely terrifying light burst out from Lin Xian's eyes. Since you have come, don't leave. He strode forward, and the lightning in the sky followed him, killing in all directions. Damn brat, don't come over. The two experts of the Misty Peak roared crazily. Lin Xian sneered. Don't you want to kill me? Do you want to suppress me? Come on. His body split open, and golden blood dripped down. However, he still did not go. The two late-stage saints vomited blood continuously. They were facing their own heavenly tribulations, which were much more terrifying than that brat's. As expected, the lightning that attacked Lin Xian was only the size of an arm. However, the lightning that attacked the two of them was the size of a mountain. In an instant, the two of them were split in half. You have also attacked me, haven't you? Lin Xian's face was pale. He was severely injured, but he still did not stop, and charged towards the other Paradise Saints. Those people's scalps went numb, and they were also struck by lightning. In an instant, all kinds of roars sounded. The front was enveloped by a sea of lightning, and the others quickly retreated. What kind of lightning was this? Even the great saints who were trapped by the array were shocked. This was terrifying lightning. This was not a lightning tribulation, but a heavenly punishment. He was a person abandoned by the heavens. An extremely terrifying light burst out from the eyes of these great saints. They no longer had the chance to pay attention to it, because this supreme array was a greater threat to them. The heavenly punishment was extremely terrifying, and Lin Xian's body seemed to be about to shatter. At this moment, a corner of the array appeared in Qianquan ancient city again, covering heaven and earth. The heavenly punishment slowly disappeared, and it was replaced by normal lightning. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. It was too dangerous. If the heavenly punishment descended, he would definitely die. Fortunately, this was an ancient city related to the Great Emperor. The Great Emperor's array appeared, blocking the heavenly punishment. The heavenly punishment became a lightning tribulation. Although the heavenly punishment of a saint king was terrifying, Lin Xian was confident that he could deal with it. He broke through in the sea of lightning. His strength gradually increased, and it did not take long for him to reach the half-step Saint King realm. Moreover, it continued to increase. A powerful force surged out from his body, and he was about to break through to the Saint King realm. Boom! At this moment, the arena in the sky bloomed with light, and endless lightning intertwined, forming a human-shaped lightning. He floated in the void, suppressing the surroundings, and his eyes were like two bolts of lightning. He looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian felt as if he was struck by lightning, and he retreated, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. What was this? It was too terrifying? The others also felt it. What had appeared again? They could not see, only the sea of lightning that filled the sky. They did not see the human-shaped lightning. Lin Xian's expression was incomparably solemn. This human-shaped lightning was too terrifying, and it had a supreme aura. It was even formed by the Great Emperor's array. Could it be that this was a young Great Emperor? Lin Xian's eyes burst with an extremely cold light. No wonder it was like this, using the Great Emperor's aura to change the heavenly secrets. However, there was another test, and that was to merge the Great Emperor's aura with the lightning to form a young Great Emperor at the Saint King realm. If he could not pass this test, he would also die. Come on! Lin Xian roared. He knew that he did not need to defeat the other party. As long as he could withstand it, he could pass this test. He had successfully broken through to the Saint King realm. Chapter 45-31. With a roar, Lin Xian's body shone with a golden light as he transformed into a peerless god of war. On the other side, the human figure's lightning surged. There was an extremely terrifying light in his eyes. Runes flickered and formed 6 reincarnation runes. 6 vortexes appeared on his body, seemingly connecting 6 worlds. Rinnegan, 6 paths physique. This was the Heaven and Earth Great Emperor. Lin Xian felt his scalp go numb. This was too terrifying. Boom! He punched out with an indomitable will, shattering the world. Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. He had seen this fist technique before. The Peak Great Saint had used it before. This was the 6 paths fist. Lin Xian did not dare to be careless. He used the 9 Suns Divine Fist to resist. The two of them were like 2 worlds colliding. Endless light swept in all directions. The great Tao there was intertwining like thunder. Boom! Their fists collided, and then they both retreated. Endless cracks appeared in front of them, and then they attacked again. Every time they collided, the power was astonishing. The two of them kept attacking. 9 Suns Divine Body against 6 Paths Physique. The people in the distance were shocked. Was that guy fighting with someone? They didn't know. But this scene was probably much stronger than the immemorial King physique. Boom! This guy's physique was actually so strong. Was this the great emperor? Lin Xian felt as if his entire body was about to split open. The other party's fist was really too strong, pressing forward with indomitable will. Many cracks appeared on his divine body, but they recovered in an instant. He also roared, and 9 suns surrounded his body as he kept attacking. After a great battle, the human-shaped lightning retreated and did not attack again. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. However, he knew that it was not over. Because next, an extremely terrifying light erupted from the other party's eyes. Rinnegan. At this moment, the people outside felt a chill down their spines, as if a god was looking down at them. Their souls were about to split open. Damn it, what was this? Some of the people who entered the town were shocked. This aura was too similar to the Rinnegan. Could it be that the Rinnegan had appeared? They stared at the lightning in front of them, their faces full of shock. However, no one knew exactly what had happened. They gritted their teeth anxiously. There were a few people who disregarded everything and rushed over. However, they triggered heaven overflowing lightning tribulation, blasted until their bodies were covered in blood. The others felt their blood run cold, and no longer dared to rashly approach. Lin Xian felt an immense pressure on his soul. It was as if heaven and earth were being reversed, forcing him into the cycle of reincarnation. Fight! He gritted his teeth and let out a roar. His heavenly secret divine eyes shone brightly as a terrifying golden light swept across the area. At the same time, terrifying sword chi surged from his body, turning into a sword to world that floated around him. Kill! Lin Xian used all his means to resist the eye of reincarnation. The eye of samsara. Every gaze contained a danger that could reverse the universe. Lin Xian had no choice but to resist with all his strength. Even so, he was still coughing up blood and his face was pale. Fortunately, the great dragon sword's soul could destroy everything. It cut off those gazes, and only then could they resist. In the end, the eye of reincarnation withdrew its light. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Was it finally over? However, he realized that there was still one last move. When the eye of reincarnation and the 6 paths physique appeared in a person, a peerless divine ability would appear. The 6 paths of reincarnation. 6 worlds surrounded Lin Xian, constantly sweeping and enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian seemed to have really fallen into the cycle of reincarnation. This was a heaven-defying power. Even with his divine body and heavenly secret divine eyes, he could not resist it. he roared at the sky and attacked with all his strength. The great dragon's sword soul flew out and was held in his hand, sweeping in all directions. He kept moving through the 6 worlds and finally charged out with a sword that split open the sky. His body was stained with blood, but his aura kept increasing. At this moment, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Everyone thought that the end of the world had arrived. After the 6 paths of reincarnation, the figure did not attack again. Instead, it slowly disappeared. The phantoms of the 6 worlds also disappeared. In the end, the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation flew into Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian's body shook. The injuries he had suffered before were instantly healed. His aura also kept rising. With a boom, he finally stepped into the Holy King realm. His strength continued to grow. Too powerful! Once he broke through to the Holy King realm, he would surpass everything. A Holy King could kill a half-step Holy King. One finger could kill dozens of half-step Holy Kings. This was the gap between the realms. It was an insurmountable gap. Lin Xian had a heaven-defying trump card, which was why he could fight above his level. Now that he had become a true Holy King, his strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. Those below the Holy King realm, he could probably kill them with a glance. Those of the same level could not block one move from him. Even if it was Dao Mingchen in tyranny, he could now suppress them with one hand. These people were no match for him. Lin Xian could only fight someone like Elder Lu Qin to a draw when he went all out. But now, he could definitely destroy the other party's soul easily. Lin Xian felt an extremely powerful force. In other words, ordinary mid-stage Holy Kings were no match for him. Only mid-stage Holy Kings, extremely powerful existences, could. Lin Xian was even confident that he could compete with late-stage Holy Kings. This is great. Holy Monarch Star Palace, your time of death has come. Lin Xian would not forget that he still had enemies in the 1,000 Mountain Cave. This time, when he returned, he would kill them with his sword. As the figure disappeared, Xiankuan Ancient City shook again. The peerless array completely erupted. Those great Holy Kings also vomited blood. Not good. They attacked with all their might, tearing the array apart and escaping quickly. Run! With a roar, the surrounding people left frantically. Xiankuan Ancient City was completely sealed. Once the great Emperor's array appeared, no one could resist. Run! Lin Xian transmitted his voice to Xueqi and the Toad. He used the void escape and quickly left this place. Everyone was running away. Most of Qiankuan Ancient City was sealed and returned to the ground. The endless earth rolled and cracked. Some of them managed to escape, while others were suppressed there for all eternity. Most probably, they could forget about coming out in this lifetime. After greeting the elders, Zhan Sengxing and the others were taken away by the experts. The woman's expression was cold, and the man's expression was extremely ugly. He had been severely injured before. Damn it, where was that kid? He was going crazy with anger. He must catch that kid and tear him into pieces. Just now, the aura of the Rinnegan appeared. It must be that kid. Zhan Sengxing said quickly. Wait here, I'll go and report to the old ancestor. The 2 elders quickly transmitted their voices to each other. Not long after, a great Holy King arrived. It was a great Holy King from the Star Tribe. After he arrived, he looked around and a starry sky map covered the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. They felt that every star had turned into eyes and was probing them. In the distant mountain range, Lin Xian also felt a huge pressure. Chapter 45-32. He instantly changed his appearance, and put on a set of black armor. His aura was completely different from before. With the heavenly secret divine eyes and the great dragon sword soul, these great saints couldn't find out who he was. Sure enough, the great saints took back the starry sky map and shook their heads. They couldn't find him. Did that kid disappear? Go, send people to seal this area. I don't believe he can escape. The people of Misty Peak moved quickly. With great saints overseeing the area, they sent countless experts to seal it. However, Lin Xian had already returned to his original appearance. He used the great dragon sword soul to destroy his aura and safely walked out of the area. The Toad and Whitey stayed in the great sage tower and heaved a sigh of relief. It was too dangerous. Fortunately, you found me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to escape. Xian smiled and then soared into the sky and flew toward the Thousand Mountain Cave. Xueqi had already returned and was waiting anxiously in the Thousand Mountain Cave. When she saw Lin Xian return, she also heaved a sigh of relief. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion for a while. Don't let them disturb me. After Lin Xian returned, he started to cultivate in seclusion again. He had just broken through to the Saint King realm and needed to consolidate his cultivation. Xueqi ordered that no one was to disturb him and set up a formation. This time, she had also gained something. Before she started cultivating in seclusion, Lin Xian gave her many treasures. Therefore, she also started to cultivate in seclusion. In the blink of an eye, half a year passed. During this half a year, the news about Qianquan City spread everywhere. Everyone was talking about the Rinnegan Eye and the legend of the great emperor. However, no matter how hard they searched, they still couldn't find the mysterious red-robed man. It was as if he had disappeared and would never appear again. The people of the Thousand Mountain Caves suffered heavy losses. The Misty Peak was so angry that they vomited blood. Many of their geniuses died, and even a few of their elders died. Some of their elders were also injured. More importantly, the 10 great sages had been able to fight back against the Grand Emperor's spell formation. Although it was only a corner of the Great Emperor's formation, the 10 great saints were still injured. Now, they were cultivating in seclusion. The legend of Qianquan City was still ongoing. On Lin Xian's side, everything was calm and tranquil. Xueqi's mansion had already regained its tranquility. On this day, the winds and clouds changed. Lightning fell from the sky. Who was it? Was he about to break through? The people in the mansion were extremely surprised. Immediately after, a sky full of lightning descended, shaking the 9 heavens. Even the Paradise's people were alarmed. Could it be that Xueqi was about to make another breakthrough? How long had it been, and the other party was already about to make a breakthrough? They felt like they were going crazy. In another palace, Xueqi and Lin Xian were sitting there and drinking tea. They seemed quite relaxed. The lightning tribulation was formed by the two of them using a formation. This was because Lin Xian had previously been a holy venerate. When he returned, he would be a holy ruler. He had to find an explanation. Therefore, the lightning array formation this time was Lin Xian's excuse. He wanted everyone to know that he had become a saint king in the Thousand Mountain Grotto. This way, no one would suspect that he was the red-robed man. In the past half a year, Lin Xian had already consolidated his cultivation. Moreover, he had also absorbed the reincarnation power. Now, the reincarnation power contained in his heavenly secret divine eyes was even greater. He was overjoyed. The lightning tribulation lasted for half a month before it slowly disappeared. Many people rushed over to congratulate him. They quickly discovered that it wasn't Xueqi who had made a breakthrough, but Lin Xian. This surprised many people. Damn it! Did this guy also become a holy king? The eyes of some Paradise's geniuses turned red. They were so angry that they almost vomited blood. They hadn't even made a breakthrough, yet this battle servant had already made a breakthrough? Damn it! It must be Xueqi who gave him countless resources that allowed him to make a breakthrough so quickly. He's just a battle servant, yet he's really lucky. If those resources were given to me, I would have already made a breakthrough. All of them gnashed their teeth as they spoke. However, they couldn't do anything about it. Sure enough, no one doubted Lin Xian. After all, Lin Xian had come here from another world, which meant that his talent was top-notch. If he had the countless resources that Xueqi gave him, it wouldn't be a problem for him to break through to the Holy King realm. Sacred King Xingchen's face darkened when he heard this news. It seemed that he had underestimated his opponent. In his estimation, it was impossible for his opponent to break through to the Holy King realm so quickly. Who would have thought that his opponent would actually do it? This made him feel a sense of crisis. However, after thinking about it, he sneered. He was now a mid-stage Holy King, but he was still a terrifying existence. In another 100 years, he would be able to break through to the late-stage Holy King realm. So what if his opponent had made a breakthrough? If he wanted to kill an early-stage Holy King realm expert, he could do it with a single finger. His opponent would never be his opponent. However, the abominable news came from the Misty Peak. The people that the Star Tribe had sent to kill him had all died. It was really strange. Could it be that someone from the Thousand Mountain Paradise was secretly helping him? Sacred King Xingqian was ready to investigate. Now that a year's time was almost up, he wanted to see how his opponent would kill him. Sacred King Xingqian's lips curled into a smile. He hadn't forgotten that his opponent had threatened to fight him in a year's time. What a stupid ant. There were still 2 months' time. Sacred King Xingqian decided to make some preparations. He had to release the news and create an atmosphere so that everyone in the Thousand Mountain Paradise would know about this duel. Otherwise, if his opponent reneged on the deal, it would be difficult for him to make a move. Soon, he secretly got someone to release the news. 3 days later, everyone in the Thousand Mountain Paradise was stunned. Heavens, what did you say? Sacred King Xingqian was going to have a death match with Lin Xian? This isn't a joke, right? No, you're wrong. Lin Xian was going to have a death match with Sacred King Xingqian. It was these guys who issued the challenge. Moreover, it was a year ago. Damn, is this guy crazy? Where did his confidence come from? Does he think that he's a match for Sacred King Xingqian after breaking through? Discussions broke out one after another. Countless people were shocked. This was a scene of death. After some elders heard this, they sneered. It seemed that Sacred King Xingqian would also kill. Otherwise, he wouldn't have let the news spread. The eyes of the sagely Heaven's old ancestors' people lit up when they heard this. This was a good opportunity to suppress the other party. Although they had helped Lin Xian win the duel, it didn't mean that they would always support Lin Xian. Lin Xian was now considered to be on Black Ice ancestors' side, so they naturally had to suppress him. Taking advantage of this opportunity to get rid of this brat, it would be a heavy blow to Black Ice ancestor. Thinking of this, their eyes shone with a cold light. Chapter 45-33. If he killed Lin Xian, Xueqi would definitely get angry and seek revenge on the Sacred Star Ruler. Then, he would find an opportunity to kill Xueqi. In that case, the genius of the mysterious ice lineage would lose his advantage. The corners of the Yanmo's mouth curled up into a cold smile. He hurriedly informed his father, the Sacred Heaven Old Ancestor. The Sacred Heaven Old Ancestor was still in seclusion. He had also made a move in the Qianquan ancient city and gotten injured. When he heard the news, he said, "I'll leave this matter to you. When it's time for the death match, I'll go back and take a look." The Yanmo received the order and went to make the arrangements. Before long, the people of the Thousand Mountain Grotto and the other grotto heavens found out about this matter. They even invited people from other grotto heavens to watch. In an instant, the discussion about this matter became even more intense. Hearing this, Xian Hai's face changed. Although he was very opposed to this marriage, he was still very much against it. He wanted nothing more than to kill Lin Xian with his own hands. However, things were different now. Lin Xian had already won the contest. If he was killed by the Sacred Star Ruler in front of everyone, it would be a huge slap to their faces. Furthermore, they also realized that the Sacred Star Ruler wasn't the only one involved. The Yanmo and the Sacred Heaven Old Ancestor were also involved. This was even more unusual. If things didn't go well, they might be trampled underfoot by the other party. It would be very difficult for them to make a comeback. Xian Hai immediately went to Xueqi's residence. He felt that this was a trap, so he went to ask if it was true. When he found out that it was really Lin Xian who had issued the challenge, he was completely enraged. Was this kid an idiot? Who did he think he was to challenge the sacred star ruler? Kid, I'll give you a chance. Hurry up and leave this area by using the spatial array. Come back in 10 years. Xian Hai roared. No matter what, he wouldn't let Lin Xian die in the arena. Lin Xian sneered. Get lost? Who did you think you were? How dare you order me around? If the other party hadn't been Shuiqi's father, he would have already made a move. Xian Hai was even more furious. How dare you speak to me with such an attitude? Do you have a death wish? The sky was filled with killing intent. Lin Xian sneered. This is my business. You don't have to worry about it. Besides, who said that I don't have the strength to kill him? Open your eyes wide and wait. I will make him fall on the death match stage. Ignorant ants. Xian Hai was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Could it be that this brat did not know the difference between Saint Kings? Do you think you can be arrogant just because you just broke through? How naive! Lin Xian sneered. He couldn't be bothered with this old man. Shuiqi walked out and said, Father, don't worry. There shouldn't be any problems. Xian Hai was about to faint from anger. How could his daughter say such words? Could it be that he had become stupid after following this kid? He snorted coldly, waved his sleeves, and left in a huff. He had to discuss this with Black Eye's ancestor. It would be best if she could seal this brat and suppress him. Black Eye's ancestor was also in seclusion. Previously, she had gone to Qiankuan ancient city and was also injured. When he heard this, he had no choice but to come out of seclusion. This was indeed a very urgent matter. He ordered Xian Hai to seal this brat and bring him over. When Xian Hai returned to his mansion, he found that Lin Xian had disappeared. That damned brat, did he run away? Xian Hai sneered. He thought that this brat had a backbone. He didn't expect him to be a coward. It was good that he ran away. If he ran away, he wouldn't come back. He ordered his men to go and investigate. Once they found that brat in Thousand Mountain Grotto, they would immediately take action. If that brat wanted to come in from outside Thousand Mountain Grotto, they would immediately stop him. In short, they would not let Lin Xian appear again. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed. A death match arena was set up in Thousand Mountain Grotto. It became completely lively, and countless people were extremely excited. They were all here to watch a joke. Previously, all of them had dreamed of marrying Fairy Shuiqi. Who would have thought that they would be defeated by Lin Xian in the martial competition for marriage? This made everyone gnash their teeth in anger. If young Master Chen had won back then, they wouldn't have said anything because he did have the strength and talent. However, he was defeated by a battle servant. This made them clench their teeth so hard that they almost broke. Countless times, they wanted to take revenge and kill him with their own hands. Now, this brat was courting death and dared to challenge the elders of Star Palace? He even wanted to fight a death match. He was definitely going to die. Even if they couldn't do anything, they had to watch him die with their own eyes. Not only Thousand Mountain Grotto, but the young geniuses of other grotto heavens also came. They also came to watch a joke. Even the people of Misty Peak came. They were the people of Misty Peak and Star Clan. Young Master Chen came personally, and even Dugu Ju came from before. Thousand Mountain Grotto was also shocked. The elders came out to welcome them. 2 great saints also came out. Although they hadn't recovered from their injuries, they came from Misty Peak. They had to come out. Countless people had gathered in one place. This scene was even more lively than the previous competition. How many moves do you think that brat can take? What a joke. That brat will definitely die. He can't even take 1 move. He is really an idiot. Does he think that he can be arrogant just because he has become a Saint King? Let's see how he will die this time. Cold laughter could be heard. The elders and experts in the surroundings also had different expressions. Some were laughing coldly, while others were worried. Xueqi stood there expressionlessly. She believed that Lin Xian wouldn't be defeated. Right at this moment, a figure flew over from afar. He was like a god, and he carried the stars in the sky with him. He landed on the death match arena. Countless people exclaimed. When the people of Star Clan saw this, they nodded slightly. This brat's strength had increased again. It seemed like he wasn't far from breaking through to the late stage of Saint King. Before this, they didn't think highly of Elder Star Palace. They didn't expect that his talent would exceed their expectations. It seemed like they could call him back to his family after this death match. The elders of Star Clan nodded slightly. Young Master Chen clenched his fists. He wanted to see that brat die with his own eyes. When Lin Xian died, Xueqi would still be his. After Elder Star Palace arrived, he stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, waiting silently. He wore a confident smile. With his strength, he could end this battle in just a second. Half a day passed, and the sun rose high in the sky, illuminating the land. However, there was only Elder Star Palace in the death match arena. Lin Xian didn't appear. The crowd was getting impatient. What the F***ck? Where is that brat? Hasn't he come out yet? What is he doing? Could it be that he was afraid? It can't be. He issued a challenge, and now he's afraid of going back on his word? What a joke! Even if I have to capture him, I will capture him and bring him to the arena. Many people were discussing this. Yan Mo sneered coldly, and he led his men to search for Lin Xian quickly. However, they searched the entire Thousand Mountain Cave, but they didn't find Lin Xian. Darn it! Did that brat run away? The crowd went into an uproar. They had come to watch the show, but that brat had run away. Elder Star Palace sneered coldly. He is really a piece of trash. Chapter 45-34. Elder Yan Mo said coldly. Pass down the order to search for Lin Xian. Kill him if you see him. A cold voice sounded. Xian Hai frowned, but he didn't say anything. As long as he wasn't in the arena today, they could accept it even if he ran away. Xueqi stood out and said coldly. Elder Yan Mo, you're too impatient. You said that there would be a battle to the death today, but you didn't say when. Only half a day had passed. Don't you have any patience? Yan Mo sneered. It seemed like Xueqi was optimistic about this battle. Fine, I'll continue to wait. It's just a day. What's the big deal? After a day, Lin Xian's fate wouldn't change. Since Yan Mo had spoken, the others also waited patiently. In the end, when the sun was about to set, everyone thought that Lin Xian would definitely not return. But at this moment, a figure appeared in the sky. He was very fast. At first, he was still far away, but in the blink of an eye, he was already in the sky. Countless people exclaimed as they raised their heads. It's that kid! He's finally here! Is he here? Young Master Chen and the others' eyes lit up, and they smiled coldly. On the arena, Elder Xing Chen's eyes flickered. He really doesn't know what death is. Fine, I'll send him to help personally. On the other side, Xian Hai's pupils shrank. How is it possible? Why is he here again? Damn it, didn't my subordinates stop him? He wanted to say something, but it was too late. Buzz. Lin Xian descended from the sky and landed on the arena. Boundless aura swept out in all directions. Kid, I didn't expect you to dare to come again. I think your brain is completely broken. I'll send you to help personally. Elder Xing Chen's eyes shone with cold light as he stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled and said, Oh, why? Have you been waiting here for a long time? Are you really that impatient to die? I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian took a step forward, and his body emitted a powerful aura. The aura of a sage king spread out in all directions. Countless people were shocked. Did this kid break through? The eyes of some of the powerful beings from the grotto heavens turned red instantly. Damn it, he was just a saint venerable not long ago, and now he has broken through to become a saint king. Even geniuses like them couldn't achieve such a breakthrough speed. The aura of a Saint King was indeed very strong. He had the right to be arrogant among the younger generation. Unfortunately, you've found the wrong opponent. I'm not someone you can challenge. Sacred Star Monarch shook his head. Make your move. I'll give you a chance to go all out. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to fight again in this lifetime. A good show was about to begin. Countless eyes lit up. Xueqi was also nervous. Although Lin Xian was powerful, Elder Xingchen was equally terrifying. This was a veteran Saint King. Moreover, he was already close to the late stage of the Saint King stage. You want me to make the first move? Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Then I won't stand on ceremony. He formed a seal with his palms, and a bright light burst out. The man-ruler seal slammed forward. Boom! Boom! His power erupted. Instantly, countless people cried out in surprise. It was too powerful. This kid had just broken through to become a Saint King, and he was already so terrifying? Elder Xingchen was also shocked. His opponent's strength was beyond his imagination? The man-ruler seal had already arrived in front of him and slammed down. His aura erupted again. Get lost! Elder Xingchen shouted angrily. He pointed out a finger, and a ray of starlight streaked across. Boom! 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 The sound of mountains collapsing and the earth cracking could be heard in front of him. Fortunately, the life and death arena was an ancient lightning platform. Therefore, it wasn't damaged. However, the surrounding people quickly retreated. Some of the young geniuses even vomited blood. They couldn't withstand this power at all. After this attack, countless people were in an uproar. They found that Elder Xingchen had been forced back. How could this be? Elder Xingchen was forced to retreat. Damn it, he was careless. He must have been careless. Countless roars sounded. The faces of the Star Tribe's people also darkened. They were embarrassed to be forced back by a young man. Elder Xingchen naturally knew this as well. His eyes were filled with an unparalleled killing intent. Kid, you've completely angered me. I'll make sure you die without a burial place. He was really angry. He decided to kill the other party in one move. Boom! He clenched his hand into a fist and pushed it out. Tens of thousands of rays of starlight fell from the 9 heavens. Galaxy Fist! Countless people exclaimed. This was the Star Tribe's supreme superpower. They didn't expect the other party to use it right away. It seemed that he really wanted to end the battle in an instant. Let's see how this kid dies. Lin Xian had seen this fist technique before. Young Master Chen had used it before, but now that it was used by Elder Xingchen, its power was even more terrifying. It was as if a river of stars was rushing over. Lin Xian was still not afraid. In the past, he was a Saint Venerable and could fight against a Saint King. Now that he had become a true Saint King, his strength was much stronger. In the next moment, his palm formed another seal, and an even more powerful force erupted. Boom! Boom! Elder Xingchen's palm was like a divine king, standing tall and sweeping across the world, blocking the Galaxy Fist. Lin Xian said, Your strength isn't that great. Could it be that you want to use this strength to kill me? What a joke! As soon as these words came out, the surrounding people were stunned, and there was complete silence. They were really stunned. This guy could fight against Elder Xingchen. What kind of joke was this? Were they dreaming? What was this guy doing? Couldn't he even kill a piece of trash? The people of the Star Tribe gritted their teeth. Elder Xingchen was also stunned. The ant in his eyes had grown to such an extent? He could even block his fist technique. Kill! He roared, and like a god of the galaxy, he soared across the sky. He threw a punch at Lin Xian, and a terrifying aura pressed forward. Close combat! Lin Xian sneered. He had never been afraid of anyone. Even someone as strong as the immemorial imperial body was no match for him. Lin Xian charged over, his fists opening and closing. With the power of the divine body and various supreme skills, there was no way to dodge. In that instant, the two of them were like the sun splitting open. Terrifying light and laws swept in all directions. Boom! Boom! Around the arena, countless arrays flickered. These were defensive arrays. But at this moment, they couldn't withstand it. Some places had already cracked. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people watching the battle quickly retreated. They really couldn't imagine that the battle would turn out like this. However, some battle servants secretly clenched their fists. Great! They eagerly hoped that Lin Xian could win. Because Lin Xian was the same as them, coming from another world and had been suppressed before. But the other party soared into the sky and even wanted to challenge the elders. Lin Xian seemed to have turned into their hope. If Lin Xian won, they could also see hope. In the blink of an eye, there had already been tens of thousands of collisions in front. Then, the two separated and stood on one side of the arena. Lin Xian's body was overflowing with light, and his aura was biting cold. On the other side, Sacred King Xingchen's face was cold, and he was furious. Both sides were evenly matched, and he couldn't tolerate it. Could it be that this guy had obtained some great fortune? Chapter 45-35. The elders of the Grotto Heavens also frowned. They felt that it was too unbelievable. Some people even nodded slightly. This young man was amazing. His growth was limitless. It was a pity that he was not one of them. Indeed, if they were geniuses from a grotto heaven, they would definitely soar into the sky. But unfortunately, the other party came from another world. No one would nurture such a genius with all their might. They would even immediately take action and kill the other party. You're just SOSO. Now I'll let you see my power. Lin Xian took a step forward, and the aura on his body swept through the 9 heavens. He formed a seal with both hands and blasted it forward. Heaven and earth split open, and an ancient demonic mountain descended from the sky. This demonic mountain was too terrifying. It was as if it had crossed through time and space. It charged towards Elder Xingchen. At the same time, Sword Chi rushed out from his body, transforming into a giant dragon that danced between heaven and earth. Feeling the biting cold aura from Lin Xian's body, everyone was shocked. They felt a chill behind their backs. This guy was too unbelievable. Sacred King Xingchen raised his head, and a biting cold killing intent erupted from his eyes. Starlight that filled the sky appeared on his body, forming a battle armor. At the same time, a long sword appeared in his hand. Unparalleled sword. He sneered. Kid, do you see this sword? I'll use this sword to deal with you personally. Boom! 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 He soared into the sky and charged forward. Lin Xian descended from the sky and charged down. The two once again engaged in a crazy battle. Elder Xingchen was truly enraged. He used his strongest power. The power of the stars erupted, and the unparalleled sword in his hand opened and closed. Lin Xian's expression was solemn, and there was a hint of biting cold killing intent in his eyes. The other party still dared to use the unparalleled sword to attack him. It was unforgivable. All right, I'll let you die under this sword today. Lin Xian stretched out his palm and first struck out with the manruler seal, repelling the long sword. Then, his left hand turned into a dragon claw and grabbed down. A claw split the sky and tore the void apart. He came in front of the other party and grabbed his arm. Crack! The other party's arm was instantly broken. That sound made one's scalp tingle. Old Jean of the constellations roared and slashed his sword at Lin Xian. Clanging sounds rang out and sparks danced in the air. Lin Xian retreated. However, this sword did not split his body. With a roar, Lin Xian charged forward again. At this moment, his divine body revolved, and he became extremely powerful. He fought against the unparalleled sword with his bare hands. Boom! Boom! After another 100 attacks, the two of them retreated again. There was golden blood at the corner of Lin Xian's mouth. It was obvious that he was injured as well. However, Sacred Ruler Star King was in an even more miserable state. There were many large cracks on his body, and one of his arms had been completely shattered. He turned into a bloody mist. He couldn't even hold on to the unparalleled sword. If you want to use this sword to kill me, I'm afraid it's impossible. Lin Xian sneered and used stellar transposition. The unparalleled sword was being controlled. He suddenly slashed out and cleaved Elder Xingqian in half. Elder Xingqian roared and retreated. His face was filled with fear. Damn it, what kind of power is this? Buzz. With a palm strike, Lin Xian grabbed the unparalleled sword, and an unparalleled radiance burst out from his eyes. This battle could be over. With a roar and the sound of a dragon, endless sword she rushed into the sky. The sky full of sword shadows turned into laws and pierced through heaven and earth. This guy was so powerful. Was he a top-notch swordsman? Many people were shocked, and even some elders frowned. Why did such a strong physique and terrifying sword technique feel so familiar? Wasn't the guy who snatched the Rinnegan in Qianquan ancient city such a terrifying existence? They were very suspicious. The people of Ethereal Peak were even staring at Lin Xian. They didn't know if this guy could use eye techniques. If he used eye techniques and they found out that it was the Tianji, then it was undoubtedly this guy. Unfortunately, Lin Xian did not intend to use eye techniques. He wanted to use his peerless sword technique to end this battle. Damn kid, I want you dead! Elder Xingqian's body bloomed with light, and his eyes burst with a piercing killing intent. Many flames flew out from his body. Those were the starry flames, and they quickly condensed into a starry sky map. A terrifying aura burst out. Everyone was terrified. Starry flames, and so many of them. It seemed that this was the opponent's real trump card. The starry flames burned rapidly, and the aura of Elder Xingqian became even more terrifying than before. In the distance, young Master Chen looked at this scene from the spectator stand, and a smile appeared on his face. This was the secret technique of their star tribe. Now that it was used, the kid would definitely die. This was indeed a secret technique. Once it was used, it would be considered a victory. One's strength would also be reduced. Originally, it would take 100 years to break through and become a late-stage holy king. Now that it was used, there was probably no hope for it in 500 years. However, Elder Xingqian was completely enraged. Even if there was no hope for it in 500 years, he would kill Lin Xian today. I'll finish you in one move. He stretched out a finger. Then, his body turned into lightning and charged out. Lin Xian sneered. Finish me in one move? You've said this many times already. But until now you haven't hurt me. I don't know where you get the courage to say such words again. As he spoke, Lin Xian slashed out with his sword. A terrifying sword aura burst out from heaven and earth, piercing through the 9 heavens. The entire world shook, and a huge crack appeared. How could this be? Lin Xian's sword aura had become stronger again. Elder Xingqian was horrified. He could sense a fatal danger from the sword. He didn't dare to be careless. As he opened and closed his palms, the starry sky map pressed down. Lin Xian's 9 suns opened, the sky slashed down. Boom! Boom! The divine sword and the starry sky collided, emitting a terrifying light. A sound rang out between heaven and earth. Crack! Under countless shocked gazes, the starry sky shattered. Then, the sword slashed on Elder Xingqian's body. This sword pierced through Elder Xingqian's shoulder and slashed down. Half of Elder Xingqian's body split open. Holy blood dripped down, piercing through the 9 heavens. Damn it, how could this be? Those from the Star Tribe stood up, their eyes filled with shock. Elder Yen Mo and the others narrowed their eyes, not daring to imagine. Ah! Elder Xingqian looked up to the sky and roared. The pain almost made him faint. He was injured again. He used a secret technique, but he still wasn't a match for Lin Xian? Damn it, I don't believe it! Go and die. Although his body was torn apart, he hadn't died yet. He used his power, and his palms flew out. There were 2 stars in his palms, and they shone brightly, burning quickly. His palms hit Lin Xian's body. Lin Xian was sent flying. Then, the 2 palms turned into a bloody mist. Lin Xian was also sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. There were 2 palms on his body, and they had almost pierced through him. It was obvious that Lin Xian had burned his bloodline to launch this attack, which was extremely terrifying. He had probably surpassed the middle stage of the Holy King realm. No! Xueqi exclaimed. The others were also in an uproar. Was he dead? Not yet. They saw Lin Xian stand up again. However, at this moment, terrifying flames also flew out of Elder Xing Chen's body. The flames of his bloodline. Moreover, they were all burning. This made everyone feel terrified. This guy was really going all out. He was burning his life force and power. Chapter 45-36. Elder Xingchen had already reached this step and burned his life force and strength. One had to know that Elder Xingchen's strength was extremely powerful. He was already equivalent to a late-stage holy venerable. He turned into lightning and arrived in front of Lin Xian, slapping down with his palm. Lin Xian had just stood up when he was sent flying again. Another long seal appeared on his body. Even if I die today, I will drag you to hell. Elder Xingchen was like a god of death as he attacked crazily. Lin Xian did not retreat anymore. An extremely terrifying killing intent erupted from his eyes. Even if the other party burned his life force, so what? He roared at the sky. The human ruler seal, mountain embracing seal, indestructible sword, and invincible sword erupted. At this moment, Lin Xian charged forward with an indomitable aura as if he had turned into a peerless sword god. Who didn't know how to fight with their lives on the line? The unparalleled sword turned into countless sword shadows, dancing non-stop like a giant dragon. Lin Xian was hit by many palms, but the other party had many more swords on his body. With one sword, he split the other party in half. With another sword, the other party's hands split open. With another sword, the other party's eyes were also pierced. My sword is indestructible. My sword dominates the heavens. Lin Xian roared at the sky. His sword Dao was displayed to perfection. With one sword he drew a 10,000 dragons diagram and charged down. With a crack, it collided with the other party's star chart. Endless laws danced. Lin Xian retreated. Elder Xingchen was also sent flying, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. His face became incomparably pale, but he still couldn't care less. His split body healed again, and he charged over. This battle was really too intense. Another sword strike forced the other party back. Lin Xian said coldly, "Star laws? Your stars are too insignificant. Let me show you what the true vastness of the galaxy is." Countless starlight appeared on Lin Xian's unparalleled sword. It spun rapidly. A star chart appeared on the long sword, flickering non-stop. Starlight fell from the 9 heavens. You don't have the right to use the power of the galaxy in front of me. I am from the star race. Elder Xingchen roared crazily. Was the other party using his family's divine ability again? What kind of joke was this? He killed his way out. However, tens of thousands of streaks of starlight scattered in the sky like peerless divine swords, beating him until he spat out blood. How could this be? Elder Xingchen coughed out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground with his back facing the sky. Those from the star tribe were also shocked. This aura was the light of the stars. Damn it, even those with powerful bloodlines in their clans wouldn't be able to use it. How did this brat manage to execute such a move? Your starlight is too insignificant. Lin Xian brandished his sword and strode forward. It was just one sword strike. Tens of millions of stars roared together, surrounding the other party. The Star City Elder's body was torn apart, and his strength rapidly weakened. Previously, he had obtained great power by burning his life force and laws. There wasn't much left now. He could no longer display the power of a late-stage holy king. On the other hand, Lin Xian's aura was growing stronger and stronger, not weakening in the slightest. The sharpness of the sword she caused his body to be unable to heal completely. Everyone could see that Elder Xing Chen's situation was very bad. He would probably be destroyed in 3 more strikes. Lin Xian didn't have any intention of stopping. Another sword strike was sent out, and Elder Xing Chen's aura became even weaker. Even his soul became dim. Stop! At this moment, young Master Chen roared, attracting everyone's attention. Countless people exclaimed. It seemed that the people from the Star Tribe couldn't help but interfere in this matter. Lin Xian didn't care about the other party's roar at all. Another sword strike was sent down. Damn it, how dare you! This time, it wasn't just young Master Chen. Even the elder of the Star Tribe was furious. Between heaven and earth, endless power rushed towards Lin Xian, causing Lin Xian's soul to be impacted. Lin Xian's eyes were cold. At the same time, he swept out his sword, and the dragon soul's aura destroyed this power. He turned his head and stared into the distance. How dare you attack me? The surrounding people were shocked as well. They didn't expect the people from the Star Tribe to be so domineering as to attack Lin Xian directly. Xueqi stood out and said, "This was a life-and-death battle, and no one else was allowed to interfere. What can you do to me if I do? Do you want to start a war with the Star Tribe?" That elder was extremely arrogant, and his powerful aura suppressed the entire place. The people from the other grotto heavens didn't dare to speak. What a joke! Who would dare to go against Ethereal Peak? Indeed, Xianhai also said, "Xueqi, don't be rude. Kid, let's end this here," Xianhai said coldly. Even though Lin Xian had won, he didn't feel happy at all. Yanemo nodded and said, "You can stop now." The people from the other grotto heavens were shocked. Indeed, the 2 elders of Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven had spoken. Seemed like there was no need for this battle to continue. They shook their heads and sighed. After hearing this, Lin Xian laughed. His laughter was extremely arrogant. The starry sky of Jiutian Shiri was shaking. "Kid, what are you laughing at?" Xianhai's face darkened. Lin Xian said, "I'm laughing. You are all idiots. You are courting death." Xianhai was infuriated, and Yan Mo's face also darkened. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Did I say anything wrong? My talent is obvious to all. No matter which sect I am in, they would do their best to nurture me. But you guys suppressed me from the beginning, and you are still suppressing me now. I really don't understand how your grotto heavens managed to survive until now." Xianhai roared. "Kid, you are strong, but so what? No matter how strong you are still just one person. If we want you to live, you will live. If we want you to die, you will die. Is that so? Do you really think that you have the power to control everything?" Lin Xian sneered coldly. "Before this, I could still let you guys off because of Xueqi. But since you are courting death, don't blame me. Audacious. Impudent." The 2 elders were so angry that they almost vomited blood. The people from the other grotto heavens were also shocked. This kid is crazy. Although he had become Xueqi's husband, his status wasn't ordinary, so what? Even Xueqi didn't dare to act impudently in front of the 2 elders. Lin Xian didn't pay attention to the 2 elders, and he looked at the Star Race's elder from the misty peak. "You are quite arrogant. Do you think that you can attack me as you wish just because you are a late-stage Saint King? Did you want to kill me with your previous attack? It's a pity that you can't do it. You are 2 cultivation levels higher than me, yet you still can't kill me instantly. You are just SOSO. Trash. Kid, are you challenging me?" The Star Race's elder walked out. No one had ever dared to challenge him, and those who had challenged him were all dead. Lin Xian sneered coldly. "Do you want to fight? Do you dare to fight me at the same cultivation level? I can kill you instantly. You aren't qualified to fight me at the same cultivation level, and I can kill you instantly. Is that so? Kill me instantly? You have already attacked me, but can you kill me? Do you think that you can control the world just because you are from the Misty Peak? Do you think that everyone will listen to you? You are too naive. Today, I will let you know that you can't control everyone. After Lin Xian spoke, he waved his sword energy, and a dragon-shaped sword energy rushed out and enveloped the Star Race's elder. The Star Race's elder roared and tried to escape. However, he was turned into a bloody mist by the sword energy, and his soul was extinguished. Chapter 45-37. With a wave of his hand, Lin Xian grabbed the man's storage ring and turned his head around. I killed him in front of you. What can you do about it? Dead? Everyone was stunned. They had never thought that Elder Xingqian would die just like that. This was a scene that they had never encountered before. Elder Xingqian had lived for more than 4,000 years. He was an extremely powerful existence in the middle stage of Sacred Venerate. Within 100 years, he could definitely become a late-stage Sacred Venerate. Such a person was extremely terrifying. But now, he had fallen. He had fallen in the hands of a young man. Moreover, it was in front of Ethereal Peak. This was not only a slap to Thousand Mountain Cave's face, but also a slap to Ethereal Peak's face. How could the experts of Ethereal Peak and Star Tribe tolerate this? As expected, the face of the elder from the Misty Peak turned incomparably ugly. You dare to kill him? Then, you can go to hell to be buried with him. A huge hand slapped over. The terrifying aura was more than 10 times stronger than that of Elder Xingqian. It was too terrifying. This was the cultivation of a late-stage Sacred Venerate. Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. However, his eyes shone brightly. He pinched the storage ring that he had obtained. The treasures inside were all absorbed by the great dragon sword soul. He held the unparalleled sword with both hands and slashed forward. Kill! Lin Xian roared. The dragon sword soul roared and slashed out. It was like an eternal divine light between heaven and earth as it fought forward. With a boom, it collided with the galaxy hand. A monstrous force swept out, and the surrounding people all retreated. This kid was dead for sure. However, what shocked them was that Lin Xian only took a few steps back. The galaxy hand in the sky and the terrifying sword she disappeared together. This guy actually blocked it? It was too unbelievable. Everyone was shocked. This was the attack of a late-stage Sacred King. How strong was this kid's combat strength? Could it be that he could contend with a late-stage Sacred King? Lin Xian sneered. Not very strong. Didn't you want to kill me in one move? Come on, how many moves have you made against me? The elder of the star race was incomparably shocked. He had not expected that the other party would be able to defend against his attack. Kid, I admit that your talent and strength have indeed exceeded my expectations. However, it's a pity that you're not from the Star Tribe, nor are you from the Ethereal Peak. Therefore, you will definitely die. The elder of the star race walked out, emitting an even more terrifying aura. Evidently, he was going to go all out. He said coldly, Do you feel wronged? Do you think I'm a bully? Taking advantage of his seniority? However, it was a pity that these were all true. This was a world that emphasized strength. Absolute strength could control everything. So, Aunt, you can die in peace. The people from the surrounding grotto heavens were silent. No one dared to make a move. They all felt a moment of silence for Lin Xian. It was truly a pity that such a genius had fallen like this. Xueqi's expression changed, and she soared into the sky. She wanted to help Lin Xian. However, Black Eye's ancestor waved her hand and formed a sealing enchantment that enveloped her. Cheer, stop. You can't save him. Xueqi's face became pale. Lin Xian laughed. Do you think that you can defeat me? Do you really like the feeling of bullying others? As he spoke, he crushed the Xiantian token. At the same time, a whirlpool formed above his head, and a person walked out of it. Who dares to attack a member of the Xiantian pavilion? Not good. The elder of the star race's expression changed. He had forgotten that his opponent was a member of the Xiantian pavilion, and he even had a token in his hand. He slashed out with his blade, and the starry river turned into a blade light that slashed toward the whirlpool. He wanted to destroy the spatial teleportation. A finger stretched out of the whirlpool, and it turned into a sharp sword that slashed toward the elder. The heavens and the earth cracked, and the blade light was shattered. The elder of the star race spat out blood and was sent flying. An imposing figure walked out of the whirlpool, and his ice-cold voice reverberated in all directions. You dare to attack me? Everyone was stunned, and their scalps went numb. The elder of the star race was sent flying. Who was this person? When they raised their heads and looked over, their pupils contracted. It was Jian Wuk, an elder. The people of the star race ran over as well. The elder of the star race stood up, his face pale. He gritted his teeth and said, Jian Wuk, do you dare to interfere in the matters of the star race? Jian Wuk stared at the other party. You are the one who attacked a member of the Xiantian pavilion? Die! He sent a slap over. You are courting death! The elder of the star race rushed up and fought. However, he was no match for Jian Wuk. With a slap, he was sent flying. Half of his face was smashed, and his teeth flew all over the ground. Everyone was silent. Was the difference that big? The elder of the star race rushed over again. Damn it, you hit me? You want to start a war with the Misty Peak? Jian Wuk sneered. You can't represent the star race, and you can't represent the Misty Peak. So what if I hit you? Don't you like to bully others? When you attacked a disciple of the Xiantian pavilion, did you ever think about the feeling of being suppressed? Now, I will let you have a taste of it. As he spoke, he sent out another slap. The elder of the star race's body was torn apart, turning into a bloody mist. He roared crazily, finally feeling fear. Damn it! Duguju, why aren't you attacking? Duguju sighed and stood up. Jian Wuk looked at him and said coldly, Why? You want to attack me? Very well. Let me experience your strength, Duguju. Jian Wuk's body released a vast sword chi that swept out in all directions. Duguju said, Are you really going to make an enemy of the Misty Peak for a young man? That's right. Jian Wuk nodded and said coldly, Lin Xian is a peerless genius, and his future is limitless. Moreover, he has joined the Xiantian Pavilion long ago, so he is naturally protected by the Xiantian Pavilion. Today I, Jian Wuk, will separate from the Misty Peak for a peerless genius. Are you surprised? Duguju said. There are many geniuses. Why should you sacrifice your life for him? Jian Wuk sneered. Many geniuses? Let me ask you, a Saint King went out and killed a mid-stage Saint King. Can you find such a genius? An early-stage Saint King who can block the attack of a late-stage Saint King? Can you find another one? Let me ask you, does the Misty Peak have such a genius? What a joke, you actually said that there are many such geniuses. This is a peerless genius, not someone the trash of the Misty Peak can compare to. Everyone was shocked, but thinking about it, it was indeed true. Lin Xian's talent was really too strong. When he was a Saint Venerable, he could already defeat a Saint King. Now that he was a Saint King, only a late-stage Saint King would be able to suppress him. If he was allowed to grow to late-stage Saint King, wouldn't he be able to fight a great saint? Thinking of this, they felt their hair stand on end. Those from the star race gritted their teeth. Especially those geniuses, none of them were convinced. Lin Xian looked at them and said, Why? Are you not convinced? If you are, then come at me. With just a few of you, I can suppress you with one hand. Chapter 45-38. Young Master Chen and the rest had ugly expressions on their faces, but no one dared to make a move. Even the Star Palace elder had died. They were probably no match for him. Jian Wuk spoke again. Such a top genius. Thousand Mountain Grotto is an idiot. No. Ethereal Peak is also an idiot. No. Xiantian Pavilion wants him. Today, I will take him away. Who has any objections? He killed an expert of the star race. How can we let him leave? The star race elder jumped out once again, gritting his teeth. Lin Xian sneered. Have you gone senile? It was a fair battle of life and death. Life and death are up to fate. It is normal for me to kill him. But you, using your status and cultivation, broke the rules of a battle of life and death. You are the laughing stock of the world. The Star Race Elder was so angry that he vomited blood. He wanted to attack. At this moment, Jian Wuk slashed out again, splitting him into two. The Star Race Elder had completely broken down. Duguju's face also darkened. Enough. You have attacked again and again. Do you really think that Ethereal Peak is easy to bully? Today, I will see what right you have to take him away. Duguju was also angry. Lin Xian had slapped him in the face during the battle for marriage. Today, he would not let him leave. Since Lin Xian had become enemies with Ethereal Peak, he would not let such a peerless genius continue to grow. Otherwise, he would be a peerless enemy. Duguju's palm was like a knife, slashing out. The light that reached the sky brought with it a domineering aura. Jian Wuk snorted coldly and waved his finger. Sword Chi was like lightning, piercing through the void and attacking forward. Boom! 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 The sword and saber collided and tore apart the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The surrounding people were all sent flying, vomiting blood. It was too terrifying. Both of them were late-stage Saint Kings. They were extremely terrifying existences. Both of them were equal in strength. Now that they were fighting, it was like a fierce battle. After one move, Duguju roared into the sky. A saber appeared on his body. He waved it and slashed forward. An ancient sword appeared in Jian Wuk's hand. He attacked as well. The battle between the two was like a saber god and a sword god clashing. Everyone's expression changed. The only ones who could still maintain their composure were the two great sages. The two of them also wore gloomy expressions and remained silent. Now that things had come to this, they couldn't do anything. No matter if it was Duguju or Jian Wuk, they could not afford to offend them. After all, the Misty Peak and Xiantian Pavilion were behind them. The experts who came out could destroy them. Thousand Mountain Grotto. Therefore, they could only watch silently. The battle between the two was extremely terrifying. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. At this moment, the elder from the star race walked out again. His body was covered in blood, and his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent as he stared at Lin Xian. Kid, let's see who can save you this time. He revealed a ferocious smile and said, Everyone in the grotto heaven, listen up. Kill him! The people from the surrounding grotto heavens felt their scalps go numb. Jian Wuk shouted coldly. Who would dare to attack? The Xiantian Pavilion would definitely send experts to destroy that heavenly abode. The surrounding people became even more frightened and didn't dare to make a move. A bunch of trash. The elder of the Star Tribe sneered. Since that's the case, I'll do it myself. I'd like to see how you're going to deal with it. His eyes were filled with killing intent. This time, he was truly enraged. With a roar, a river of stars flew over. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He was also angry. The phantom of the Great Sage Tower appeared around his body. He used the void escape technique and dodged continuously, avoiding the strongest attacks. The storm of stars hit the Great Sage Tower, causing an earth-shattering sound. His blood boiled from the impact, but he still charged out. With the phantom of the Great Sage Tower, the other party couldn't hurt him. Lin Xian's great dragon sword soul circulated within his body. He slashed out, turning into a peerless sword light that fought against the river of stars. The battle erupted. The elder of the star race had an ugly expression. He had already attacked with all his might, but he still couldn't kill the other party. Especially the other party's mysterious spatial mystique and his strong defense. Even the sword chi was troublesome for him. He had to deal with it with all his might. "Despicable guy, you've really angered me!" he roared into the sky. Starry river domain. Endless starlight appeared on his body, completely sealing the space around him. "Kid, let's see how you're going to escape this time." He created thousands of doppelgangers and charged out. Everyone was in despair. Lin Xian entered the Great Sage Tower to block. The Great Sage Tower exploded with an unparalleled light. It was shaken by the attacks, but it still spun and charged out. Lin Xian came out of the Great Sage Tower and used the void escape to kill the other party. "Old thing, you dare to kill me? I'll let you know the price." He charged out and slapped out. Two geniuses of the star race were instantly turned into blood mist. "Elder, save me!" The geniuses fled frantically, their faces full of fear. They couldn't stop him at all. He was a killing god. The elder of the star race was furious. His eyes were red. "How dare you! If you dare to touch the people of the star race, I'll tear you to pieces." "What, are you crazy now? Don't you like to use your strength to crush others? Now I'll use my strength to crush the star race," Lin Xian sneered. These geniuses of the star race were strong, but they couldn't withstand a single blow from him. With a slash of his sword, 3 heads flew. "No!" The elder of the star race turned into a bolt of lightning and charged over. Lin Xian used the void escape and used his strongest attack. However, the other party used the starry lightning to form a sure kill attack. Lin Xian entered the Great Sage Tower again and was sent flying. His blood was boiling. The Great Sage Tower was an item of the Great Sage. The other party couldn't break through its defenses. Damn it! The elder of the star race also realized that this was a top-grade defensive artifact. He couldn't break through it. "Kid, come out if you have the guts," Lin Xian sneered. "Do you have the guts to say that? If you have the guts, let's fight at the same level." As he spoke, he attacked again, attacking behind him. The ground cracked open. 2 streaks of sword chi pierced through 2 geniuses of the star race. Ah! The elder of the star race was so angry that he vomited blood. He was really crazy. Left with no other choice, he could only look ahead. "Seniors, please take him down. The star race is grateful." Black Ice Ancestor frowned. The Sagely Heaven's Ancestor's eyes flickered. "All right, I'll help you." This was a good chance to rope in the star race. How could he miss this opportunity? The Sagely Heaven's Ancestor stretched out a hand and grabbed the Great Sage Tower. "If I'm not wrong, this should be a weapon that surpasses the Saint King level. Someone like you doesn't deserve to have such a thing." The Great Sage Tower shone brightly and blocked the attack. Lin Xian's expression was extremely ugly. The Sagely Heaven's Ancestor. He swore that this bloodline would be annihilated in the future. Black Ice Ancestor sighed. Did she let this old thing take the lead? She also wanted to rope in the star race, so she prepared to attack. Shuichi said, "Grandfather, even if you don't support him, can you not attack? If you really want to attack, I'll kill myself in front of you." "Cheer, don't mess around." Black Ice Ancestor tried to seal her. Shuichi's body was covered in black frost, blocking the seal. She said, "It's useless." "Father, you can't seal me. My strength isn't something you can imagine. If you really attack him, I won't have any hope of living." Chapter 45-39. Xian Hai was dumbfounded. What was that black ice? Black Ice Ancestor sighed. "Forget it. I'll listen to you this time and not attack him. However, I can't help him either. However, even if I don't attack him, he won't be able to fight against the Holy Heaven's old ancestor alone." In an instant, The holy heaven's old ancestor's hand grabbed the great sage pagoda, wanting to destroy it completely. The toad roared in the great sage pagoda. This guy is too despicable. I really want to kill him. Kid, what should we do now? If he takes us away, we'll be in great danger. Lin Xian gritted his teeth. Take out all the treasures you have. I'm going to kill him today. Lin Xian also took out countless treasures. At the same time, he circulated all his strength and attacked. The great dragon sword soul roared, and a dragon-shaped sword chi flew out. With a clang, it slashed the huge hand, and a crack appeared on it. Eh? The holy heaven's old ancestor was stunned, and his face turned ugly. Lin Xian still had treasures that could hurt him? What was that? He was really shocked. A piercingly cold light burst out from his eyes. This guy definitely had a heaven-shaking treasure in his hands. He had to get it. At the thought of this, he attacked again. On his palm, countless great dafts formed wind blades. Lin Xian, the toad, and Whitey took out their treasures. The great dragon's sword soul roared again. This time, a dragon roar resounded through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Between heaven and earth, more terrifying lightning descended and turned into sword chi. The sword slashed out. The holy heaven's old ancestor's palm was completely split open. It was full of cracks, and it shattered into a bloody mist. The surrounding people went crazy. What kind of treasure did this kid use? It could actually fight against a great sage. Father! Yan Mo exclaimed. On the other side, Xianhai was stunned. Even Black Ice ancestor took a deep breath. Her eyes were filled with shock. How could a great sage's strength be resisted by a great sage? But now, what was going on? How did this kid do it? No wonder Shuiqi didn't allow him to attack. If he let Lin Xian escape today, what kind of storm would he cause when he returned? He didn't dare to imagine. He said to Xianhai. From now on, no one is allowed to touch this kid. Even if he escapes, you are not allowed to pursue him, do you hear me? Xianhai was dumbfounded, but he couldn't refute it. Were they really wrong? This brat was indeed a peerless genius. If they had treated him with respect from the start and nurtured him well, they would have benefited immensely when he grew up. It was a pity. They had always been high and mighty, never putting the people of other worlds in their eyes. Even if Lin Xian displayed his talent, they believed that he would not be able to grow. They continued to suppress him. But now, they really regretted it. Black Ice ancestor sighed. She had misjudged him. He had lived for thousands of years, but this time, he had really made a mistake. However, he knew that he could no longer make up for what had happened to Lin Xian. It was fortunate that he had Shuiqi, and he couldn't see through his granddaughter. Shuiqi must have also gotten a heaven-defying fortuitous encounter, and he could only depend on her in the future. As for Lin Xian, they no longer intended to be enemies with him. At the very least, they wouldn't take the initiative to hunt him down. However, whether or not the other party could escape today would depend on his luck. The holy heaven's old ancestor was even more shocked. His opponent had actually injured him. How could an ant injure him? His eyes shone with an extremely cold light as he stood up. The aura of a great sage was vast. At this moment, the experts of the grotto heaven all prostrated themselves on the ground, not daring to resist. Ant, you've completely angered me. I'll let you know that no matter what you have, you can't fight against a great sage. He formed a seal with his palm, and a piece of the sky pressed down with a holy light. At this moment, Jian Wuk roared, and tens of thousands of sword lights slashed toward Duguju, sending him flying. At the same time, he flew back to the great sage tower. He said, Holy heavens, old ancestor, why don't you try? If you touch him today, I can guarantee that the next day, the experts of the Xiantian Pavilion will kill their way to the 1,000-mountain grotto heaven. I'll destroy your souls! The piece of sky in the sky stopped, and a palm replaced it. The holy heaven's old ancestor's expression was extremely ugly. If it was just Lin Xian, he wouldn't hesitate at all. However, Jianwuk had come and stood beside him. He couldn't do anything. If he hurt Jianwuk, he would completely offend the Xiantian pavilion. Although they had the protection of the Misty Peak, it couldn't protect them forever. Therefore, he couldn't use this move. Jianwuk snorted coldly, and took out a scroll from his storage ring. After opening it, endless space energy surrounded him and the great sage tower. Was he leaving? Shuiqi heaved a sigh of relief. Black Ice Old Ancestor's expression was complicated, and her expression was ugly. The people of the star race roared, especially Elder Xingqian. Brat, even if you run to the ends of the earth, the star race won't let you go. Lin Xian walked out of the great sage tower, and his body gradually faded. Hearing this, he snorted coldly. Old thing, I'll give you one last gift. A ball of light burst out from his eyes, and it turned into a spiritual light that attacked below. At this moment, he attacked young Master Chen. Young Master Chen fell to the sky, roaring. Xia Yike was dead. Elder Xingqian went completely crazy. Young Master Chen was also dead? This was a young master of the star race. If he was dead, what kind of shock would it cause? Damn it, what was that? Eye technique. Countless people were shocked. The other party had such a terrifying soul eye technique. Damn it, could it be that he was? Countless people looked at the sky. In the sky, space flickered, and Lin Xian and Jianwuk disappeared. Chener. The elders of the star race came to young Master Chen's side to check. They found that his soul had been completely destroyed. Damn it, what a terrifying eye technique! The others were also shocked. A top-notch physique, terrifying sword energy, and now such a terrifying soul eye technique. It made them think of the red-robed man in Xiankuan ancient city. Was it him? Some elders of the grotto heavens quickly transmitted their voices. Did you see it clearly? Was it the heavenly secret divine eye? Another person shook his head. Do you dare to raise your head? I don't dare. Who knows if it was the heavenly secret divine eye? Could it really be him? Even if it wasn't, this guy was still a terrifying expert. It was over. The star race was going crazy. I wonder what the situation will be like next? Countless discussions broke out. Those from the Thousand Mountain Grotto heavens were also shocked. They knew that the star race would not let this matter rest. Especially at the end, Lin Xian's eye technique was too mysterious. It made them very suspicious. What was the relationship between him and the mysterious red-robed man? Outside the Thousand Mountain Grotto heavens, countless people were shocked. Among them, a stream of light flashed past and turned into a black-robed man with a monstrous aura. He looked into the distance and was also shocked. Was that dragon's voice the great dragon sword spirit? Could it be that Lin Xian was inside? The black-robed man turned into a stream of light and disappeared. Chapter 45-40. Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven. The elder of the star race roared. Damn Lin Xian! No matter where you go, even if you go to the Xiantian pavilion, the star race will catch you. We will make you wish you were dead. The holy heaven's old ancestor said coldly. Don't worry, we won't let that kid go either. His cold voice made the people of the other grotto heavens feel numb. They knew that there was going to be a huge storm. At this moment, a cold laugh came from the sky. Did you attack Lin Xian? As soon as he finished speaking, a monstrous aura spread out, forming a black storm. Who was that? Countless people were shocked. Was someone standing up for Lin Xian? The elder of the star race roared. You know Lin Xian? Then you can die. He charged forward. A river of stars appeared and streaked across the sky. It could pierce through everything. Boom! 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 The black storm fell, and the laws spread out, covering the river of stars and the elder of the star race. The elder of the star race roared in pain. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? They saw the elder of the star race's body being smashed into pieces. He was dead. Everyone went crazy. After young Master Chen died, did the elder of the star race die as well? Who was it? The holy heaven's old ancestor's face also changed. He struck out once again, toward the sky. The entire sky flipped over and charged toward the black storm. A supreme sage? In the storm, the black-robed man sighed and formed a hand seal. The surrounding ground kept changing, and countless arrays flickered, turning into a huge cauldron that suppressed the sky. It collided with the holy heaven's old ancestor's palm. The arrays in the sky were shattered. The holy heaven's old ancestor's palm was blocked, and the black storm slowly disappeared. Damn it! The holy heaven's old ancestor roared, and his gaze swept across the sky. But he found that the other party had already disappeared. Who was it? The holy heaven's old ancestor was shocked. The other party was too strong, and the laws were everywhere. Was he from the demon race? Also, the other party used the arrays of the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven. What kind of array master was he? Did Lin Xian know someone like him? This kid's identity was more terrifying than they had imagined. Duguju's face turned cold as well. Go and find out who it is. The elder who had died was not only an elder of the Star Tribe, but also an elder of their ethereal peak. The ethereal peak would never let him off. Outside the Thousand Mountain Grotto Heaven, the black-robed man appeared, his face slightly pale. Otherwise, killing him would be as easy as flipping his hand. Little guy, I've avenged you a little. As for the rest, it's up to you. The figure of the black-robed man disappeared between heaven and earth. Two streaks of light flew through the air. They were Lin Xian and Jian Wuk. They had used a spatial array to leave the Thousand Mountain Cave. At this moment, they were already far away from that area. Now that the little fellow is safe, I'll take you to the Profound Heaven Pavilion. Jian Wuk laughed. After flying for 10 days, Lin Xian was surprised. Senior, was the Xiantian Pavilion very far from the ethereal peak? Jian Wuk nodded. They were indeed not close. The two of them belonged to two different regions. Lin Xian asked. Then what was the distribution of the buried Emperor Star? He wasn't too sure because he had asked Xueqi before. However, Xueqi only knew about the ethereal peak region. Apart from that, she wasn't too sure. Now that he had met Jian Wuk, Lin Xian wanted to know more. Jian Wuk said, I only know a rough idea because the buried Emperor Star is very big. The entire buried Emperor Star has a few seas and a few continents. Overall, for seas, 8 desolates. Our Xiantian Pavilion and Ethereal Peak are on the same continent called the Tianxian Continent. Just the Tianxian Continent is very big. I'm only familiar with a few of the regions. After Lin Xian heard this, he was even more shocked. 4 seas, 8 desolates. It seemed that the buried Emperor Star was much bigger than he had imagined. In the 4 seas and 8 desolates, there were some tombs of great emperors. However, those were all danger zones and ordinary people couldn't go there. In the other continents and seas, there were strong existences. There were also some ancient races. For example, the ethereal peak Xiantian Pavilion had many grotto heavens below them. Apart from that, there were also some ancient cities. Some were ancient cities and some were even ancient cities. Those ancient cities also stood tall on the ground and were places that countless people yearned for. For example, the Qianquan ancient city was a very famous city. At this moment, Lin Xian and the others were going to the Xiantian Pavilion. It was located in the east of the Tianxian continent. After flying for about a month, they arrived. This region was already very far from Ethereal Peak and belonged to the Xiantian Pavilion. Let's go, little fellow. Follow me. Jian Wuk led the way. The two of them turned into rays of light and flew towards a mountain range in the distance. When they arrived, a formation appeared below them, and 4 figures flew up. Stop, this is the Xiantian Pavilion. It's me. Jian Wuk stopped and said coldly. After the 4 guards saw this, they were also shocked. Then, they all bowed and greeted Elder Wuk. At the same time, they looked at Lin Xian in surprise. Who was this person? He was very unfamiliar, but no one dared to ask. Lin Xian was also sizing them up. They were indeed experts. The strength of the Xiantian Pavilion was not any weaker than Ethereal Peak. Just the guards of the mountain were all Sage Kings, and they had an extremely cold, killing intent. It was obvious that they were people who had been through hundreds of battles. Lin Xian nodded slightly at the few of them. Then, he followed Wuk and walked inside. Inside was a continuous mountain range. On the mountain range, there were many pavilions and halls. There were even some halls that were wider than the mountain range. Along the way, many people met Jian Wuk and bowed to him. It was obvious that Jian Wuk's status in the Xiantian Pavilion was not ordinary. It should be very important, Elder. Elder, you are finally back. When Jian Wuk brought Lin Xian to a territory, two figures rushed into the sky anxiously. It was a man and a woman. They were very young and seemed to be of the younger generation. They were also very talented and had reached the Sage King realm. The two of them looked at Jian Wuk anxiously. What happened? Jian Wuk asked. The man said, It's about the Spirit Path Ancient Land. According to the information we found, the Sky River Sect and the Ice Feather Palace seem to have the intention of joining forces to deal with the Xiantian Pavilion. So, at this moment, those elders are extremely anxious. They are choosing people. There's such a thing? Jian Wuk was shocked. Then, he said, I know. You two don't have to worry. I'll go now. Then, he looked at Lin Xian. Little fellow, come with me. So, he followed. Looking at the two of them leaving, the two of them were extremely shocked. Why did the elder bring this person? Who is this person? He looks younger than us. His aura is not as strong as ours. Is he qualified to go? Chapter 45-41. Lin Xian did not know what was going on, but he thought that it should be something very important. Soon, Jian Wuk brought Lin Xian to a large hall. This hall was bigger than the 8 mountains combined. There were no guards around, but there was a terrifying array. Lin Xian could feel that the array could easily kill a Saint King. Jian Wuk walked over and took out a medallion. Countless Dao inscriptions flew out of the medallion. The array formation in front of him slowly opened. Jian Wuk and Lin Xian walked in. At this moment, there were many people standing in the hall. They seemed to be discussing something. When they saw Jian Wuk walk over, they all turned around. Someone smiled and said, Wuk, you are finally back. That's right, we were worried to death. Many people walked over. These people had terrifying auras. Many of them were late-stage Saint Kings. There were even peak Saint Kings. Jian Wuk said, I have a rough idea of what is going on. Are they really going to work together? We've only scouted out some information, and it's very likely to be true. So we are thinking, who should we choose next? There were a few suitable people, but there were limited spots. The first one had already been chosen. There were only 2 spots left. Oh, there were 2 more? Jian Wuk smiled when he heard that. Just nice, I can recommend someone. Lin Xian, you can come. After speaking, Lin Xian walked out. The surrounding people were shocked. Only now did they realize that Wuk Jian didn't come alone. There was another person with him. Countless gazes landed on Lin Xian. The space around Lin Xian continued to shatter. He felt an immense pressure. He channeled the power in his body, and his sword qi destroyed the pressure. He faced it calmly. The surrounding people were shocked. This kid was not simple. He was facing so many late-stage and peak Saint Kings. They wondered where this genius came from. Wuk, who is this kid? An old man asked. This old man was very strong. He had a golden body and golden light filled the sky. He was like a golden god of war. Lin Xian could feel an abnormally powerful aura emanating from his opponent's body. This was a body-refining technique, and an extremely terrifying one at that. His name is Lin Xian. He came from planet Xi'an. He was in the Thousand Mountain Cave before, but I brought him here. Oh, he's the little guy you were talking about. The other middle-aged man nodded. Previously, they had also heard of this person. However, they had never imagined that Jian Wuk would actually bring this person over so quickly. The other lady frowned slightly. Wuk, although we believe in you, the quota this time is extremely important. Not just anyone could participate in this event. Although you think highly of him, he's still too young. I think it's better to wait until next time. The others also nodded in agreement. They could also tell that Lin Xian was only an early-stage Saint King, and it looked like he had just broken through. No matter how strong such a person was, how strong could he be? Moreover, there was no age limit for the selection this time. In other words, not only young people could participate, but the middle-aged generation could also participate. In this way, cultivation was extremely important. The previous quotas were all obtained by middle-stage Saint Kings. The young geniuses of the Xiantian Pavilion probably did not have the qualifications to obtain them, let alone those who had just arrived. Jian Wuk laughed after hearing this. You don't have to worry about this because he had just killed a middle-stage Saint King elder from the Thousand Mountain Cave. What? The moment these words were spoken, everyone in the hall was shocked. This guy had killed an elder from the Thousand Mountain Cave. Is this true? Could it be that he had used some secret pill or a super powerful saint weapon? Some people had doubts in their eyes. Looks like you don't believe me. That's good too. Let's give him a chance and let him participate in the competition for the last 2 quotas. All right. The old man who was covered in golden light nodded. Since Jian Wuk had said so, they could not refuse. Moreover, they were also very curious. Did this young man really have the strength to kill an elder? At this moment, they looked at the 2 people in front of them. There were 2 figures standing at the front. The aura of these 2 people had reached the great saint realm. Clearly, these 2 were the real decision-makers. Lin Xian faced the aura of the great saint realm and took a deep breath. The figures of the 2 people were like a dream. One of them was standing on a lotus, like a fairy from the 9 heavens. The other was a man. He looked young, but the aura of his body was incomparably terrifying. On his back, there was a pair of black wings. When he spread them out, it brought about a strong storm. These 2 were the Supreme Elders. The Lotus Ancestor and the Dark Feather Ancestor. The Lotus Old Ancestor smiled. Jian Wuk, since you are the one who recommended him, he has the qualifications to participate. Thank you very much, Grand Elders. Jian Wuk smiled. After that, he introduced the 2 to Lin Xian. Lin Xian also bowed respectfully, greeting the 2 seniors. At the same time, he asked through voice transmission, Are they the Pavilion Masters? Jian Wuk smiled. They weren't Pavilion Masters, they were Supreme Elders. The Pavilion Master of our Xiantian Pavilion, Lord Xiang Tian, has always been very mysterious. He seems to be in seclusion. Unless it is a very important matter, he will not appear. After Lin Xian heard this, he was even more surprised. Lord Xiang Tian. His pupils shrank. Wasn't the person Xia Jiuyo wanted him to find someone called Xiang Tian? He did not expect him to be the pavilion master of the Xiantian Pavilion. Is it a coincidence? Same name? Or is it really him? He felt that when he had the chance, he had to personally meet this Lord Xiang Tian. Previously, there were 4 people. Now, there were 2 spots left. Including Lin Xian, there were 5 spots. The competition was intense again. Everyone did not know how to fight. Lin Xian looked around and smiled. Isn't it simple? I think many people have already gotten a spot. Then I will challenge them. If I defeat them, doesn't that mean I have the qualifications to get a spot? This way, we can decide it with 1 battle. This was indeed true. The others frowned. This kid is too arrogant. Those who had already gotten a spot, which one of them was not a powerful expert? Does this kid really dare to challenge them? Interesting. The surrounding figures also smiled. They felt that Lin Xian was very interesting. These people were all people who had already gotten a spot. Kid, aren't you a little too arrogant? Although you were brought back by Elder Wuck, you can't be so arrogant. I want to see if you have the qualifications to say such words. Among the four figures, a man walked out. His aura was also very strong. He had reached the middle stage of the Holy King realm. Lin Xian looked at Jian Wuck. Jian Wuck nodded slightly. No problem, just show me your strength. All right, I understand. Lin Xian walked forward. Then, please enlighten me. After he finished speaking, a strong aura exploded from his body. The surrounding people were stunned. What a strong physique! Even the eyes of the old man who was covered in golden light shone with a shocking light. What a strong body tempering technique! This kid is quite strong. Chapter 45-42. You're really brave. Since that's the case, I won't hold back. Don't worry, I'll stop. The man on the other side walked out. He was wearing 5-colored armor, and light erupted from his body. The 5 elemental laws swept out and quickly formed 5 clones, enveloping Lin Xian. This is my 5 elemental laws. I wonder how many moves you can withstand? The man said loudly. It seemed like he was reminding Lin Xian. In fact, he was very confident. There was a difference of a realm between the two sides. In his opinion, the other party couldn't even withstand a single move. Lin Xian was also surprised. Oh, 5 elemental laws? Interesting. Since that's the case, I won't hold back. Lin Xian clenched his hand into a fist and punched out. His speed was extremely fast as he charged towards one of the clones. His fist was like the sun, illuminating the entire world. What speed! What terrifying power! The expressions of the surrounding people changed. The smiles on their faces disappeared, replaced by a hint of seriousness. Such a person was indeed terrifying. The expression of the man in 5-colored armor also changed. He shouted in a low voice, "You're indeed very strong, beyond my expectations. But against my 5 elemental laws, you're still not enough. I'll let you see my 5 elemental formation." The 5 elemental laws cooperated with each other, growing and multiplying endlessly. It was extremely powerful. The clone that was attacked retreated one after another. The power of the other clones surged out, forming a terrifying shield to block the attack. The Earth Shield. With a bang, the clone was knocked back, and the shield shattered. However, it blocked the attack. Did you see that, kid? No matter how strong you are, you can't defeat me, the armored man said proudly. Lin Xian said with a smile, Is that so? What if I attack together? As he said that, Lin Xian threw out 5 fist shadows consecutively, charging towards the 5 elemental clones. Each clone was facing an extremely powerful threat. Not good. How did he do it? His speed is actually so fast. The expressions of the mid-stage Holy Kings changed. They also felt their hair stand on end when they encountered such an attack. This was not an ordinary fist. It contained the power of the divine body, and it was extremely terrifying. The 5 clones used the power of the 5 elemental laws together like a vast sea to resist. 5 elemental laws as one, slash. The armored man's battle roared and attacked. The power of the 5 elemental laws. Then, an earth-shattering sound, the 5 elemental laws of the 5 elemental clones. The laws on each and every one of them dimmed considerably, as if they would be extinguished at any moment. Lin Xian's as he retracted his fists. It didn't shatter at least a little bit stronger as expected of someone from the Xiantian pavilion. He was strong enough to block his fist. If it's a T. It was simply unbelievable for an early-stage Holy Venerate to say such words to a middle-stage Holy Venerate. The T test the case. T. In the next instant, Zhang Xian formed a series of hand seals, and his 5 elements doppelganger shone brightly. 5 weapons appeared on it, and they were held in the hands of the clone. Teet. Teet tss this elementals that slins. Mice the armored man's voice was piercingly cold. Then, the 5 clones quickly charged over. The elemental law's weapons in the air gave off strong auras. The horrifying power shocked the surrounding people. It looked like the armored man was really serious, going all out. Boom! 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 The battle of the 5 elemental laws erupted. Horrifying laws completely encased the area. Lin Xian's figure also vanished. Countless cracks appeared in the surroundings. The sky shook and the ground shook. It looked like that brat was defeated. Several people exclaimed. Some of the younger geniuses shook their heads. Not only was that brat defeated, but he was also severely injured. That was for sure. If the armored man had not held back, his soul would have already been destroyed. It looked like there was no suspense in this battle. A youth would not be able to obtain a spot. That was what everyone thought. However, right after he spoke, a sword light flickered. It flew out of the elemental laws and chopped down. It was like a heavenly sword. At this moment, the formation, the laws, and the clones all shattered. Nothing could stop it. It appeared. Jian Wu's lips curled up in a smile. However, the pupils of the surrounding people constricted. What a horrifying sword chi! The expressions of the others changed drastically. The sword chi was like a god. It cut through everything like bamboo. In the blink of an eye, everything was cut apart. The armored man could not believe it. He was sent flying and the armor on his body shattered. A sword mark appeared on his body. You lost. The sword did not continue to descend. Lin Xian stopped in midair and said coldly. Everyone looked at this scene, dumbfounded. It was as if they were dreaming. Was this battle over? However, the result of the battle was out of their expectations. The one who lost was not Lin Xian, but the armored man. This armored man was a mid-stage holy king. Moreover, he was a very powerful mid-stage holy king. Otherwise, he would not be qualified to fight for a spot. But now, he was defeated by a single sword. The younger disciples could not believe it. Not to mention them, even the senior generation elders sucked in a breath of cold air. This kid was too strong. Wuk, who is this brat that you found? At the front, the armored man's expression changed. In the end, he sighed. I lost. He knew that Lin Xian had held back. Otherwise, he would have been cut in half by that sword. You let me win. Lin Xian kept his sword. Come back. You did not lose unjustly. Another elder said. Elder Zhang's body was also surrounded by powerful 5 elemental laws. He was much stronger than the armored man. He was a late-stage holy king. The armored man retreated. I have embarrassed my master, that elder said. This young man is a peerless genius. Especially that sword just now. Not to mention you, I think others would not be able to block it. So, it is normal for you to lose. Even the eyes of the 2 grand elders lit up. This little fellow was not bad. Now I have the right to get a spot, right? Lin Xian said again. The others nodded. However, at this moment, another voice rang out. Wait, although you defeated him, he did not get a spot. You can only say that you have the right to fight for a spot. If you want to get it, you have to defeat me first. Another man walked out. He seemed to be from the Holy King's generation. The aura on his body was piercingly cold and powerful. 2 daggers appeared in his hands. The sky was filled with killing intent. It was Lin Feng. Was he going to fight too? Many people were shocked. This guy had already gotten a spot, and he was a very terrifying existence. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. If you want to spar with me, I'll accompany you at any time. He also walked out, and the power on his body exploded again. A terrifying sword aura appeared in his hand. Chapter 45-43. At this moment, the black-winged ancestor Dark Feather spoke. Lung Feng, step back. He is indeed qualified to get a spot. Lung Feng was stunned and wanted to say something. However, Ancestor Dark Feather shook his head. Do you still doubt my judgment? I don't dare. Lung Feng stepped back. The others were also surprised. Since the ancestor had spoken, they naturally had no objections. Just like this, Lin Xian successfully got a spot. Next, 3 people competed for it. The other spot was finally taken by a woman. All right, go back and prepare. The day of the competition is almost here. Everyone responded one after another, and then they all left. After leaving the main hall, Jian Wuk brought Lin Xian back to his territory and said, First, congratulations on getting a spot. Next, you should cultivate well. When the time comes, I will look for you. Oh right, as for the others, like Lung Feng, you don't have to be hostile. He is not targeting you. It's just that they don't know you yet, so they don't know your strength. Your real opponents are the Sky River Sect and the Ice Feather Palace. I understand. Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, in the previous battle, he only felt the fighting spirit. There was no killing intent like the Misty Peak. Therefore, Lin Xian did not kill. He came to a hall and began to cultivate in seclusion. He had already cultivated the first 12 of the Tianji 24 diagrams. Next, he would cultivate the 13th diagram. However, the remaining 12 diagrams were even more terrifying. Each diagram was much more powerful than the previous ones. And it was harder to cultivate. The time it would take would be much longer than before. Lin Xian began to cultivate patiently. The 13th diagram. About half a month later, he opened his eyes. The stars in his eyes disappeared. His eye technique was even more terrifying. He did not come out of seclusion. Instead, he thought of a place. Now that he had broken through to become a true Sage King, he was ready to explore the mysterious world in his body. Previously, he had entered the mysterious world in his body to avoid the heavenly punishment. Furthermore, this mysterious little sword had been with him from the very beginning. However, it was very strange. Back then, only Lord Alcohol could move freely inside. He could only enter but could not move. Now that he had become a Saint King, he was prepared to explore this place. With a thought, Lin Xian felt the world turn upside down. When he opened his eyes again, he was in that mysterious world. There was an ancient tree in front of him. It had already withered, but it still exuded a mysterious aura. Back then, Lord Alcohol was here. Now that Lord Alcohol was no longer around, the ancient tree remained the same. Lin Xian tried walking forward. 1 step. He said that he felt a boundless pressure pressing down on him, wanting to tear his body apart. Taran snorted coldly and used his divine body to resist. In the next moment, he realized that he had actually taken a step forward, and then a second step. Although he walked very slowly and had to use all his strength to deal with each step, he could indeed walk in this mysterious world. A radius of 100 meters was the maximum range that Lin Xian could move within. Although the distance was very short, Lin Xian was very happy. This was because he knew that this space was very mysterious and vast. As long as he became stronger, he could continue to explore. Although there was only a withered divine tree within a radius of 100 meters, there were good things in other places. Lin Xian stood 100 meters away and looked forward. He realized that there were some spiritual herb seeds on the ground in front of him. No one would notice such things outside, but Lin Xian was happy. Because he could feel the powerful energy contained in them. If one batch could grow, the power would be unimaginable. Next, Lin Xian cultivated his physique in this mysterious world. The pressure was very beneficial to his 9-yang divine body. There was a black ground and a mysterious cave. There was an extremely strong array around it. It was obvious that this was an important place of the Xiantian Pavilion. Ordinary people could not enter at all. At this moment, Jian Wuk was holding a token and walking cautiously in the array. He came to the cave in front of him and stopped. Then, he respectfully said, Lord Xiangtian has arrived. How is it? A calm voice came from inside. Very strong. A peerless genius. Not bad. When the time is right, bring him to see me. Jian Wook accepted the order and turned to leave. Another 2 months passed. The array outside flashed and Lin Xian walked out of this mysterious world. A man and a woman were waiting outside. They were the 2 people that Lin Xian had seen before. The man walked over and smiled. Lin Gongzi, right? I am Jian Shi-san. This is my junior sister Jian Wu. From now on, we are family. The 2 of them were very polite. Lin Xian smiled. Then he asked, Oh right, are we going to fight? That's right, it will be soon. But we still have to wait for half a month. We are here to ask young master if he needs some cultivation resources. Are we disturbing young master? Lin Xian smiled when he heard that. No, I am not disturbing you. I want to come out and walk around. Oh right, you 2 bring me around the Xiantian pavilion. Since Jian Wu was happy, she said, But we can only bring you around Elder Wuk's territory. We can't enter the territories of the other elders. Although it was called a territory, it was boundlessly vast. Elder Wuk's territory was filled with sword cultivators. Each of them carried a sword on their back and gave off a cold aura. Jian Wu was very cheerful. She told Lin Xian a lot. She even said that there was a very powerful sword saint under Elder Wushuang's command. They formed the sword gate. Lin Gongzi, why don't I bring you there to take a look? Okay, Lin Xian was a top swordsman himself. Naturally, he wanted to see these sword saint experts. They passed through a few mountain ranges and found a valley in front. The valley was huge and sword energy filled the sky. It was obviously much stronger than other places. Jian Shi-san pointed ahead. That was where the sword gate was. Lin Xian stood in midair and looked down. Then, he was shocked. It was really strong. He realized that there were hundreds of people below. Although there weren't many of them, they were all top sword saints. Their auras were really terrifying. At this moment, these people were training. Their training methods were also very scary. In the valley below, the array flickered and formed 10 spaces. There were a few sword saints in each space, and their opponents were monsters. These beast saints were captured by the elders of the Xiantian pavilion. They were very fierce and had a murderous aura. These people were using these monsters to train. Sword energy swept across. Those monsters were also very scary. Their strength was even more terrifying than these sword saints. In an instant, some sword saints vomited blood and were sent flying. But soon, they charged over again. Chapter 45-44. Only by facing stronger opponents could one hone one's swordsmanship. If one were to fight someone weaker than oneself, there would be no point in cultivating. This kind of cultivation was also very dangerous. Every time, someone would be seriously injured. The effect was also very good. The strength of hundreds of swordsmen was very terrifying. They could wipe out thousands of soldiers. It could be said that countless swordsmen wanted to join Sword's Gate. Swordsman Wu explained in detail. Lin Xian nodded slightly after listening. He looked at the 3 figures. These 3 people were very strong and their swordsmanship was very outstanding. And from the looks of it, they were very young. They were young peerless swordsmen. Their opponent was a dragon sparrow. It spread its wings, forming endless wind and flames that swept over. The 3 of them fought with it. They were evenly matched. Gradually, the 3 of them gained the upper hand. Countless sword marks were left on the dragon sparrow's body. Blood flowed out. The dragon sparrow was enraged. It attacked crazily, wanting to go all out, but it was firmly suppressed. At this moment, the dragon sparrow roared, and the power in its body burst out. In an instant, the 3 sword saints were sent flying. The dragon sparrow roared to the sky, and the blood in its body burned. It actually tore open the array with one blow. Not good. This guy had hidden his strength before, and now he was going all out. In its current state, the dragon sparrow's power was very terrifying. It was a top existence among the Saint Kings. It was infinitely close to the late-stage Saint King. If it continued to burn its blood, it would definitely reach the late-stage Saint King. In this way, it would be a fatal threat to these sword saints. Damn it! The surrounding sword saints also roared and wanted to attack. But unfortunately, each of them had an opponent. Those monsters roared together and attacked crazily. Damn it, these guys dared to secretly contact each other. The people of Swords Gate were crazy. In the sky, Swordsman Wu and Jian Shisan's expressions changed. Not good, they had heard from Elder Wushuang before. This dragon sparrow was very unusual. It had the bloodline of the dragon race, and now it seemed that the bloodline was stronger than expected. Now that he was going all out, it would be difficult to suppress it. Should they inform Elder Wushuang? It was probably too late. Jian Shisan's face was pale. The dragon sparrow spread its wings and attacked the three geniuses below. The three geniuses were also in despair. Were they going to die? They were all top-notch swordsmen and geniuses. Their future achievements were limitless. It was a pity that something unexpected had happened. Just as everyone was in despair, Lin Xian made his move. His figure flashed as he charged downward. In the next moment, he arrived between the two. Facing the dragon sparrow, Lin Fan slapped out with his palm. The man-ruler seal blasted out with supreme might. A sky-shaking sound rang out. The dragon sparrow was blasted flying. Feathers fell from the sky, carrying endless flames as they pierced through the 9 heavens. So valiant. Many people were surprised. He was saved. The 3 geniuses were also stunned. They looked at the figure in front of them with shock. Who was this person? How could they not know each other? The dragon sparrow was sent flying. It raised its head and roared at the sky. The remaining blood in its veins burned rapidly. In the next moment, he transformed into a flaming divine sword and charged over. The 9 heavens and 10 earths were torn apart. Not good, quickly dodge. The 3 geniuses roared crazily. Lin Xian's eyes exploded with a biting cold light. This thing didn't know life from death. On his body, endless sword light transformed into a sword god. The unparalleled sword was held in his hand. Slash! The sword Qi slashed down, splitting heaven and earth into 2 halves. This sword enveloped the dragon sparrow. Heaven and earth shattered. The dragon sparrow's body split open and fell from the sky. Endless storms swept in all directions. Everyone looked up at the sky in shock. What a powerful sword! This was a peerless sword technique. Who exactly was this person? Boom! 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 The 2 halves of the dragon sparrow fell to the ground, stirring up a lot of dust and shaking the array formation. The surrounding powerful beasts looked at this scene and roared crazily as if they wanted to tear the array formation apart and kill Lin Xian. Lin Xian held the long sword in his hand and snorted coldly. He looked around coldly. With a glance, the beasts trembled and a trace of fear appeared in their hearts. They stopped roaring and retreated one by one. The surrounding people were all stunned. They didn't expect this young man to be so terrifying. Jian Shisan and Jian Wu were also shocked. Was it a sword technique that he used just now? It was so terrifying. They had received news that the other party was a body-tempering expert. They didn't expect him to be a peerless swordsman. They didn't know who the young master was. The 3 geniuses also walked over. They cupped their fists and thanked the young master for saving their lives. Lin Xian smiled. You're too polite. We're on the same side from now on. The 3 of them were stunned. Who was the young master? At this moment, Jian Wu walked over and smiled. This was the peerless genius that Elder Wuk brought back, Lin Xian, Lin Gongzi. So it's you. The surrounding people of Swords Gate were shocked. They had also heard that Elder Wushuang brought back a peerless genius, and even fought for a spot in the competition. They were still unconvinced before and wanted to see who it was. Now that they saw it, they were shocked. Lin Gongzi, can you teach us sword techniques? Their eyes were filled with excitement. Lin Xian smiled. Sure. In the following days, Lin Xian spent his time in the valley sparring with these people. The strength of these 100 sword saints also improved by leaps and bounds. They were also deeply impressed by Lin Xian's sword techniques. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be about the same age as them. He was even younger than them. His attainments in sword techniques were so high. He was simply a young sword god. After half a month, it was finally time for the competition. At this moment, the atmosphere in the Xiantian Pavilion changed. It wasn't just the Xiantian Pavilion. The entire Tianxian Eastern region became nervous. Because this competition was related to the Spirit Path Ancient Land. It was an extremely unusual place. If one could obtain it and cultivate it, it would be of great help to one's cultivation and laws. It could be said that even these saint kings needed it, and were determined to obtain it. The legend of the Spirit Path Ancient Land was very magical. A peerless figure had once stayed there. And there was more than one. Even the young great emperor had been there, so it was very magical. It was an ancient land with a mysterious and unfathomable aura, like a fairyland. At this moment, there were already many figures gathered around the Spirit Path Ancient Land. Each of them had a powerful aura and a piercing light in their eyes. Among them, some were here to participate in the competition, and some were here to watch. After all, this was an earth-shattering event. On a few mountain peaks, the people who stayed were very terrifying. Their auras suppressed the 9 heavens. They were the experts of the Eternal River Sect, Battle King Peak, and Ice Feather Hall. These were the most terrifying sects in the Tianxian Eastern region. None of them were weaker than Ethereal Sect. Chapter 45-45. The 3 overlords stood there, and the people around them looked up at them. There was an empty space on the mountain next to them, and everyone knew that it was the place of the Xiantian Pavilion. Were the people of the Xiantian Pavilion not here yet? Many people were discussing. They had also received news that the Eternal River Sect and the Frozen Feather Palace were going to join forces. If that was the case, then this battle would probably have an earth-shattering change. They're here! Someone exclaimed. Everyone sensed it, and saw countless figures flying over from afar, covering the sky and earth. The people of the Xiantian Pavilion. Everyone held their breaths. They saw many powerful figures descending like gods and demons. Behind them were hundreds of sword chi, like peerless divine swords, cutting through the void. So terrifying, what is that? That should be one of the teams, the Sword Sect. No, I know the Sword Sect. Although they're terrifying, they're not that powerful. Why do I feel that the Sword Sect has grown into peerless swordsmen? Discussions sounded one after another, and they all looked toward the Sword Sect. Then someone was surprised. Did you see that? In front of those peerless swordsmen, there was a figure. Who was that person? He looked unfamiliar. Everyone's eyes fell on Lin Xian. He seemed to only be an early-stage Saint King. Could such a person lead the Sword Sect? Countless people were surprised. Some people sneered. It seemed that the Xiantian Pavilion had lost their minds. How stupid to send such a young man as their leader. This time, the Xiantian Pavilion was probably going to lose. Amidst the countless discussions, the people of the Xiantian Pavilion landed, and the 2 great saints in the lead. The Lotus Grand Elder and the Dark Feather Grand Elder. The other 3 overlords looked over as well. Instantly, laughter could be heard. You're late enough. I thought you didn't dare to come. The one who spoke was an old man in a blue robe. His face was old, and there was an extremely terrifying phantom of the Eternal River on his body. He was one of the Grand Elders of the Eternal River Sect. After hearing that, the Lotus Grand Elder also snorted coldly. What was the use of coming early? Just because he came early, would he be able to win? I think you're thinking too much. The atmosphere between the two sides was a little tense. The aura of the two great saints bloomed, and the laws clashed in the air. Endless cracks spread between heaven and earth. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. It seemed like the rumors were true. Neither of the great saints was willing to submit to the other. All right, you two don't quarrel as soon as you arrive. Another old woman walked over. This old woman exuded an extremely powerful aura of ice, and she held an ice scepter in her hand. She was also a great saint. After he arrived, he began to smooth things over. On the war god Peak's side, a middle-aged man who looked like a war god also walked over. The atmosphere gradually calmed down. Lin Xian stood on the mountain peak and looked around at the other three overlords. This should be their competitor this time. He saw that these sects were indeed very powerful. None of them were weaker than the ethereal peak. It seemed that the upcoming battle would be a tough one. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath, and a light appeared in his eyes. He already knew that the competition this time was to fight for the Spirit Path Ancient Land. Moreover, if they could succeed, then he would also have the qualifications to enter the Spirit Path Ancient Land. This was an excellent opportunity for him to improve his strength. How could he miss out on a few hundred years of cultivation time? Therefore, he had to win this time. At the front, the great saints of the four major sects discussed for a while. Then, a figure walked out and said loudly, "I'm sure everyone knows the rules of the Spirit Path Ancient Land this time. It's simple. Whoever can enter the Spirit Path Ancient Land can enjoy the resources inside. As for what methods you use, we won't care. Now, those who are ready to participate in the competition, walk forward. We'll open the seal of the ancient land." Hearing this, Lin Xian took a deep breath and walked up. The others also walked forward one after another. These were the people who had obtained the qualifications to enter the trial. Near Lin Xian, Ling Feng and the others also walked out. On the other side, the people from the other three major sects also walked out. They were hostile towards each other. Some of them even had cold smiles on their faces. The great saint at the front formed a seal and tore the world apart. Countless Tao patterns intertwined, and a terrifying aura spread out. This Spirit Path Ancient Land was left behind from the ancient times, or even longer. There was an unparalleled aura inside. Now that the seal was opened, a terrifying power swept out. Everyone felt their bodies tremble. Some people were shocked. Even if there were no opponents, it wouldn't be easy to enter. That was true. Ordinary Saint Kings probably didn't have the strength to do so. Lin Xian's lips curled up. He also felt the pressure. However, the resources inside wouldn't disappoint him. All right, let's begin. After the order was given, countless figures rushed forward. Lin Xian also rose into the air. Looking at the leaving figure, Jian Wu's lips curled up into a smile. "Little guy, you have to grab hold of this opportunity." Beside him, Jian Wu and Jian Shursen also asked, "Elder, do you think Lin Gongzi will succeed this time?" It was hard to say for others, but Lin Xian should have no problem. Although these people didn't know Lin Xian yet, after this battle, they would all know Lin Xian. One figure after another entered the ancient land. After Lin Xian entered, he also felt a huge pressure. It was so terrifying. It could tear everything to pieces. Boom! He clenched his fist and punched out. The space in front of him split open, shattering the pressure. Then, he strode forward. The others also used their own methods. They only had one goal: to enter the center of the ancient land. Some of the more powerful people were able to enter very quickly. They flew in from all directions. They belonged to the people at the front. Countless figures followed behind them. Lin Xian was among them. He belonged to the latter half. He wasn't in a hurry to charge forward because he couldn't make it. He wanted to observe carefully. If Xiantian Pavilion's information was correct, there would definitely be people attacking them. Lin Xian temporarily preserved his strength and flew forward at a certain speed. A figure in front of him had a river of light on his body. It turned into a saber light and slashed out. His speed suddenly exploded. It was obvious that he wanted to charge forward. However, because he was flying too fast, he was knocked back by the power of the Great Tao. He spat out a mouthful of blood and landed near Lin Xian. Lin Xian glanced at him and shook his head. He didn't have the strength to charge forward so quickly. He was courting death. Kid, why are you shaking your head? Are you mocking me? Chapter 45-46. The person next to him was incomparably angry. When he saw Lin Xian's expression, he was instantly enraged. There was an extremely cold, murderous intent in his eyes. Lin Xian glanced at him and said indifferently, "Do you still need me to laugh at you? Don't you know your own strength? If you don't have the strength, don't be in a hurry to die. You're courting death." The man was completely enraged. How dare Lin Xian look down on him? Reckless fool, I want to see what qualifications you have to look down on me. He didn't continue to move forward. Instead, he stopped Lin Xian, his eyes emitting an extremely terrifying aura. A terrifying river appeared on his body. The river surged with monstrous power. Was the battle going to start so soon? The people outside were also extremely surprised when they saw this scene. Who was that kid? He should be from Xiantian Pavilion. However, he looked unfamiliar. Could it be that he was a newcomer? Haha, then he was dead. The one who attacked was from Long River Sect, an extremely terrifying expert. His name was Qi Yuan. What he cultivated was an extremely terrifyingly fire river. Moreover, he was already an expert in the middle stage of the Saint King realm. That kid was only at the early stage of the Saint King realm. He couldn't resist at all. The people from Long River Sect also looked to the side and laughed. Fellow cultivators from Xiantian Pavilion, I'm afraid one of you will be eliminated. If it was someone else, the spectators from Xiantian Pavilion would definitely be nervous. However, they weren't worried about Lin Xian. Especially those elders, they were all very calm. They had seen Lin Xian's battle before. The elder from Golden Light laughed. Is that so? The battle hasn't started yet, and you're already so confident? I think you should be the ones who are miserable. The person who will be eliminated this time will definitely be from your Long River Sect. The people from Long River Sect were dumbfounded. These guys had water in their heads. An early stage Saint King realm wanted to resist? What a joke. Then let's wait and see. The elder from Long River Sect snorted coldly. The people from Frozen Feather Palace and Battle King Peak were also surprised. Where did Xiantian Pavilion's confidence come from? Qi Yuan looked at Lin Xian and sneered. Kid, kneel down obediently now. I can do it. Before he could finish his sentence, he saw a fist flying toward him. In a moment of crisis, he raised his hand to block. The river of flames that filled the sky danced in front of him, forming a shield. The other party couldn't even break through his defense. However, he was wrong. This punch directly shattered his shield and landed on his face. There was a cracking sound. His face was smashed, and the rest of his words were cut off. His entire body flew backward, and the upper half of his body turned into a bloody mist. So much nonsense. Lin Xian withdrew his fist and said indifferently, I said that you are trash, but you still don't admit it. What's going on? How could that brat be so strong? The spectators outside were all stunned. The elder of the Long River Sect narrowed his eyes. This was impossible. The people from Xiantian Pavilion smirked. They knew that this brat was extremely arrogant, and would definitely not suffer a loss. The people from the other two sects were also shocked. When did the Xiantian Pavilion come out? Such a top-level genius. Inside the ancient land. Qi Yuan was dumbfounded. How was this possible? His body recovered, but his expression was extremely ugly. Until now, he still couldn't believe that the other party could injure him. Damn brat, how dare you injure me? You have thoroughly enraged me. Go to hell. The river that filled the sky charged over with monstrous flames, turning into countless giant dragons that danced and galloped. Kill! Lin Xian roared and punched out. At the same time, the primordial demon mountain pressed down from the sky, suppressing the leaf fire river that filled the sky. The man-ruler seal flew out, and once again exploded the other party's body. Damn it! Qi Yuan was completely terrified. Who was this guy? He was too strong. He was no match for him. Retreat quickly. He fled to the back. Lin Xian looked at the other party's back and sneered. Ant. He struck out a sword chi and destroyed the other party. With this delay, Lin Xian had fallen far behind, but he didn't care. He stomped his feet and grabbed forward with both hands. The entire void was torn into two by him. A vacuum crack appeared, and his speed instantly increased by several times. He was too strong. This brat was an expert. Seeing this scene, countless people were shocked. The people from Xiantian Pavilion had smiles on their faces. Not bad. They were very satisfied with the little brat that Wuk brought. However, the people from Long River sect had ugly expressions. They were defeated by a young man right from the start, which made them lose face. This was especially true after they had arrogantly declared that they would not be defeated. This was a slap to their faces. What was there to be proud of? The elders of Long River sect darkened their faces. It seemed that the plan had begun. Let's do it. They secretly formed seals with their palms and issued an order. Inside the ancient land, the eyes of the people from Long River sect lit up, and then they nodded one by one. The three figures nearby slowly slowed down and approached Lin Xian. Lin Xian's soul was so strong that he instantly sensed it. He immediately narrowed his eyes. Were they going to attack? And there were three of them. He could sense that two of them should be from Long River sect. The other person had a cold aura. Could it be from Ice Feather Palace? They had indeed joined forces. But so what? He didn't care about the three of them. The three of them were hidden in the void. Ordinary people couldn't detect them at all. Perhaps people of the same level didn't know the danger. Lin Xian laughed coldly. All right, with just this little trick of yours, there's no way you can hide anything from me. Come out. There was no movement around. The three of them were very experienced. They knew that this might be a bluff. Lin Xian said coldly. What? You still don't want to come out? Do you want me to catch you? He waved his hand and hit the void behind him. The void there shattered, and a figure retreated with a cold face. They had actually found him. Kid, since you want to die, we'll fulfill your wish. He flew over. At the same time, the void on both sides shattered, and two more figures walked out. The three of them appeared and surrounded Lin Xian. The people outside were stunned when they saw this scene. They were two experts from the Eternal River sect, and one was an expert from the Frost Feather Palace. Unexpectedly, they had attacked together. Sure enough, they had joined forces. That kid was really pitiful. He was besieged by three experts. No matter how strong he was, it would be difficult for him to resist. This time, the people from Xiantian Pavilion were also nervous. Although they knew that Lin Xian was very strong, facing three middle-stage Saint Kings, he could only flee. Hopefully, he could escape. This time, let's see if you can still laugh. The people from the Long River sect looked over and sneered. The people from Ice Feather Palace also had confident smiles. Not good, Lin Gongzi was in danger. Jian Wu was nervous, her face pale. Jian Shursen also gritted his teeth. Damn it! So despicable! So many experts bullying a young man. Don't you feel ashamed? You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.